They tryna turn Trenton into Baby Flint. Been signs by depression on the billboards ever since. 100 years ago we was lynched. Now they use germ warfare to kill us. I'm convinced, got the evidence. I look around and it's evident. Then go down to City Hall and see so much negligence. Real art is intelligent. A true artist sends messages that speak to your intelligence. They fought and died so I can do my thing. Not to get drunk and high or join no gang. I will not let none of you die in vain. For my people I bang, bang, bang. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. They say post-traumatic slavery disorder's fake, but I just tell them all to wake up. Everything we went through, what a way down a rape, bro. Isn't our genetic makeup. So I am my ancestors from block to block. Let's build like it's Tetris. We must unite, link up like a necklace. They fought and died and we disrespected. So I come to correct it. The legacy they left I protected. We only think about self and neglected. You're African but yet you rejected. No. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. I do. I go.
Welcome back to another edition of New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment and development. I'm your co-host, Brother Deen, here with...
Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Imam Bilal Hassan. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition, actually a debut of a new series, actually, that we're debuting tonight here live and direct on New Freedom Exchange. We're streaming right now on Facebook. And if you are tuning in on Facebook or YouTube or on Twitch, let us know where you're tuning in from so we can shout you out and bring you up on the screen here. Please like and share this stream. We are having a very crucial conversation, a very in-depth conversation to start off this series. This new series that we are embarking on is called Birthed in a Nation, Growing into Community. Birthed into a Nation, Growing into Community. And we were brought the idea came to us through a filmmaker / playwright, Brother Hakim Sabree, which is here. He's here with us, and we will bring him on momentarily. But first and foremost, how's everyone doing, and how are you doing, Dean?
I'm doing well, blessed by the best, as they say. Doing well. Beautiful weather today in the PA area. I did get a call. I wanted to give a brief. Okay, we got our brother
Rashid Hafiz, man. Our brother, man. That's right. That's our brother right there, Rashid Hafiz. He's rep in New Jersey, and he got some special projects coming out. He got another special project coming out too, as well. So we're going to be sharing that information on our page as well, and sharing that with you all. Casting call actually for his a new project that he has. So shout out to Brother Rashid Hafiz, always working.
Yes, I just want to give this quick announcement because there's only it's an urgent message. There's only 3 spots left for the Youth Entrepreneurial Masterclass. This is the Youth Entrepreneurial Masterclass. This is for girls ages 13 to 16. My daughter's almost there. But until she gets there, we're looking for a few more sisters. There's a few more openings, and this is hosted by Jessica Cares. So if anyone listens to this now,
Asiya, sister Asiya,
and Nasir,
and
if you
Asir.
listen to this now or later, please inbox her or reach out to her directly at Jessica Cares. Um, I'm not going to give it away, but there's 3 spots left for young girls, teenage girls, 13 to 16. I just wanted to give that out. You're going to learn how to the how-tos to becoming your own boss, whether it's for-profit or non-profit. They're going to meet, I think, once or twice a week, starting January 10th. But it's very crucial that you reach out to her quickly to get locked into that spot, because the parent and the daughter has to be at this info session to qualify to get into the masterclass. So that was an urgent message we wanted to get out, and we'll announce it again at the end. How are you feeling about it?
Alhamdulillah, all praise is due to Creator. All praise is due to the Creator. I'm feeling good. Feeling very grateful for this opportunity to be here with you all and to share this space with you all. I'm very excited for this conversation tonight. And also, I was nominated. I found out I was nominated for the Who's Who, Professional Who's Who Society. I just was checking my email. I just saw it just pop up. So, yeah,
Give it up.
yeah. So the Who's Who. So that was good. My mom is doing well. She sends everyone she thanks everyone for those who are keeping her in their prayers. She is progressing in her rehabilitation from her hip surgeries. So good progress. I'll see her on Monday, as we'll be following up with the surgeon to perform the surgery on Monday to check in on our progress. But she's doing well. She's eating well. She's still in good spirits. And again, she thanks everyone for those who have been praying for her speedy recovery. So we'd like to thank you all for doing that.
And me. Before we got a few more people that joined us. Our dear brother Imam Musa.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Imam Musa. That's right, Master Yusuf Shaw on the check-in, Mount Vernon.
Dear sister, the master promoter.
Sister Khadija, my sister. Assalamu alaikum, Khadija. Thank you for mass promoting all the time for us and sharing our live streams to all these groups. So we thank you for all that as well. Very appreciate our top fans and our top supporters.
Yeah, there was a message. I wasn't going to read it, but I think we should read it because it actually goes into what our mission is and what our purpose is. With this platform.
Mm-hmm.
It was an inbox to our page from one of our supporters.
Is that from our beloved Idris?
One of our beloveds, man. Are you able to pull up? Because right now
is that from Idris?
Yeah, he sent us a message.
Yeah, I meant to respond to the brother. I didn't mean to keep the brother. If Idris, if he's actually in our class with our beloved teacher and instructor Imam Rashad. So let me bring up our brother Idris' comment before we bring on Hakim and read his bio. Give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. Idris sent us Assalamu alaikum. He said, I just want to thank you all for what you all are doing and the people you all are getting on the show. Inshallah, I make dua that Allah continues to bless you all. We all should watch you all like we go to the movies because the quality is better and bigger. But inshallah, he said, I will be tuning in tonight to the show that we had. This is back and before Thanksgiving. So I'm sorry that we did not get back to you, Idris. But thankfully, definitely appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your support as a brother, definitely for sure. Oh, assalamu alaikum, brother Yusuf Abdul Jalil. That's right. This is one of our artists. He's been around in the community for a long time doing the graphic arts. And I'd like to tell you, Abdul Jalil, if you want, also we have a platform on Fridays after Jummah. We do what we call the Prosperity Marketplace Exchange, where we allow people. We want people like yourself to come on and showcase your products, showcase your service. So if you want, we could talk off after the show. You can inbox us, and you can come on this Friday and be part of the showcase with us. And we want to showcase your products, showcase your services. And the same goes for Brother Rashid Hafiz too. He's been on the show too. But definitely we can do a double whammy too, brother. We need to bring you on too, because you've been involved in the community for a long time. in your activism and you being involved in the Muslim community. So we appreciate you, brother, for checking in and tuning in to us. So let's talk. Send a message and let's set it up, bro. Okay, we're missing Sister Marsha this evening.
Yeah.
So hopefully, inshallah, God willing, Creator willing, she'll join us at some point this evening. But she might be busy. I know she did say she was swamped with work earlier in the week. So it's not like she's playing hooky, but she's not playing hooky. You know, so this is our dear sister. So please.
Well, they are planning for a grab and go gift. We probably put that up too.
Oh yes. But not without no further ado, we want to delay any further. Our guest is here. We want to bring him on. So let's first read his bio that I have here that he has sent us. And I think this goes without saying that this series is very important. It's very crucial to get the story and get our narrative straight as it relates to the specific topic and theme. So let's begin with the resume here. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, this is Hakim Sabree. Brother Hakim Sabree is a Muslim of African American descent. He was born of the second of 7 children to Brother Charles, 24X, and Sister Mary, 17X, in Harlem. His parents joined the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the mid-1950s. They received their X at Temple Number 7, which is now Masjid Malcolm Shabazz, under the local leadership of then Minister Malcolm X. They were married July 4th, 1963. Hakim attended the Muhammad's University of Islam up into its closing in 1977. He sold Muhammad Speaks on the weekends, and in his teen years worked in Your Muslim Bakery on the corner of 125th Street with his 4 brothers. Hakim and his older brother and younger sister were students in the Youth Thrust Initiative at Muhammad's Mosque Number 7, later renamed Masjid Malcolm Shabazz by Elijah Muhammad's son, successor Imam Deen Mohammed. His community service included working as masjid keeper, general worker, assistant imam, security, programs planner, board member, assistant treasurer, secretary, street dawah team member, and Islamic studies teacher for the Sister Khan Muhammad School Weekend School. Guidance counselor at Masjid Taqwa wa Jihad in the Bronx under the local leadership of Imam Farouk Abdul Wali. May Allah forgive him his sins. Imam Wali passed away a few days ago. He had his janazah here in New York. So may Allah make his grave spacious and forgive him of his sins and grant him paradise. And may Allah bring peace and comfort to his family and to his friends. Hakim graduated from the High School of Art and Design, where he majored in art and advertising. He received his associate's degree from the New York City Technical College under the same majors. Hakim, along with his older brother Mustafa, formed the Sabree Brothers, LLC, an independent entertainment production company focused on producing original movie scripts and plays that center on the improvement of the African American people by utilizing the insights of Imam Deen Mohammed and, there it is, Sabree Brothers, elevating the culture by cultivating the intellect. Powerful slogan. Very powerful. Where was I? Oh, by utilizing the insights of Imam Muhammad and the best expressions of the golden age of Hollywood and television. Hakim is first and foremost a student of Imam Muhammad. He is an independent actor, writer, and student illustrator. He's also a first-level student of Muslim American Logic Institute, also known as MELI. Presently, he resides in the Bronx and has been an employee of the New York City Transit Authority for 18 years. Without no further ado, let us bring our beloved Hakim Sabree.
Welcome.
Okay, how's the brother? How are you doing?
Fine, Bilal, yourself?
Alhamdulillah, good. I'm well. It's good to see you on on the flip side, on this side, usually you're the one interviewing on New Africa Intelligentsia. Usually we're in the background, and usually you're on the front screen, doing the interviewing. So it's good to have you, and it's good to know a little bit, get to know you more, and the audience get to know you more about who is Hakim Sabree. So we read your bio, and as we do with all our guests, we read their bios, but we always ask them in their words, in their expression. If someone came and asked you right now, who is Hakim Sabree, what would be your answer?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, merciful redeemer. Before I answer that, I just want to, because I don't want to forget, I was listening to the program last Sunday. Imam Rashad was saying how I took it as, this is what I took it, that I first should acknowledge and say thank you and appreciate, and say they appreciate you, you and Brother Mujahideen, Sister Marsha, for putting on this program, these programs on New Freedom Exchange. Very much needed, very much appreciated, very professional. And I was just going to come on regular with a regular shirt. But I said, no, me and my brother always talked about if we were ever interviewed on television or anything, or by the outside press, that we should look presentable. And this is, most people we may not take it as such, but this is a real program. This is a real show. And out of respect, I said I had to dress up for this program to show my respect for the program. So again, thank you for having me, and thank you for presenting the show. Much needed. May Allah continue to bless it and grow with more programs. I guess, like my bio kind of really does say it. First and foremost, I would have to say that I would have to say what best would help me is I'm a student of Imam W. Deen Mohammed. And for me, that means that hopefully my thinking is in the pattern and in the logic of the language and the direction that he left for us Muslims, specifically African Americans in this community. And everything that I do, that Allah has blessed me with the ability to do, I try to do it in that vein. So that's, I guess, I would really like for people to see me as that, a Muslim African American student of Imam W. Deen Mohammed.
Excellent, excellent. So how did you get to that point? Because we're talking about now the series of Birth in a Nation.
Yes, sir.
So give us a little backdrop of your upbringing in the Nation of Islam, and how did you first learn about the Imam, and talk about that a little bit.
Okay, kind of lengthy, but well, as my bio said, I have to start with my parents. Well, actually, let me start why I suggested the program. This wasn't a program so that I could talk to people. Hey, look, it's me. I thought about the reasoning behind the suggesting a program such as this, and I specifically wanted to hear from those of us that were born or at least joined very early in the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the original Nation of Islam, and continued the process to the conclusion, which was to be in the community of Imam W. Deen Mohammed. I wanted to make that clear because there are people that joined and grew up that were in the Nation of Islam, but they didn't continue. And I'm not berating them or slighting them, but for me, the purpose of Professor Farad, W.D. Farad, Wali D. Farad, Professor Wali D. Muhammad, Wali Farad Muhammad, the many names that Professor Farad had, which is, we know now is Muhammad Abdullah, the founder and creator of the Nation of Islam's theology and reality in the wilderness of North America. His conclusion was, as it said, to create the fruit of Islam, which was, as Imam Rashad mentioned last Sunday, the fruit is the production of all of that work, which is Imam W. Deen Mohammed. And we know Imam W. Deen Mohammed is a person, but is also a mindset. So the end result was to have that mindset in the mind of the vessels that came through that experience and experiment. So that's why I wanted to present it that. And someone else could probably come up with a show that just, I was in the Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad, and that's fine. But I wanted to have a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion. I just wanted to say that. Secondly, I have to start with my parents.
Before you transition, can you give us that timeline just for historical education purposes? The timeline that you're referring to, the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. The beginning was would be the early 1930s. It started by Professor Farad, W.D. Farad was the founder. We now know he was a Muslim from Pakistan, not Mecca. He wasn't Arab. He was a Muslim from Pakistan, which was part of a group called the Ahmadiyya movement. And there's this sister, I believe her name is, forgive me, Yahya, if I get the name wrong, Fatima Fanusi. That's his wife. Excellent book.
Yes,
excellent book.
Fanusi.
I don't know the name of the book, but excellent book on the Ahmadiyyas and W.D. Farad's role in it. And he, with others, wanted to see Al-Islam proper, remade again in the world, under a new spirit, under a new direction, under a new people, to continue the legacy of Al-Islam that was lost in the world, especially during that time that he lived in, to be brought back in the world, to progress the world to where it should be. So that's the 1930s, but he was the founder and the inventor of the idea. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the actual builder of the Nation of Islam. When Professor Farad left, and I'm not sure if he left on, Allah maybe designed it that way. Imam Muhammad said he came following a pattern in Scripture and in the Bible. And we know there's a saying, and this is not to slight any of my Christian friends. The reading says, it's expedient that I go away, because if I don't go away, the Comforter can't come. And he was just here for 3 years, and Allah moved him out. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't the Comforter, but he was there to design a context and an environment for the Comforter to come into, so that we can fulfill the progression and the idea and the hope that Professor Farad had. So that was the 1940s all the way up to 1975. And Imam Muhammad, we know, 1975 became was voted, make sure we remember that too, voted, elected by a show of hands and a raising up of him on their shoulders by all the officials, Minister Farrakhan included, to be the leader and successor of his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who passed, I think, a day before. So that was basically the succession. Professor Farad, and you can't start at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can't start at our leader, Imam W. Muhammad. You have to start at the beginning, which is Professor Farad, to have a complete understanding of what was supposed to transpire, how Allah allowed what he allowed, and to appreciate where we are now.
So that period, that transitional period, where were you fitting? I guess you were about to say that your parents, when they came in,
both my parents came from the South, and they joined the Nation of Islam in the mid 1950s. My father was already in New York. My mother came from the South, and she was in Brooklyn and joined New York. I'm not exactly sure. My father joined, but I remember my mother told me when she first was brought in by her cousin, and her cousin didn't stay. But that's how Allah works. They were like the angels that came in, not spooky angels, just Allah used them to bring her in. We don't get spooky like that here. So she came in and she heard minister speaking. It wasn't Malcolm first. And so she came in and listened to it. She liked some of it, but she went out. She didn't join. I think they went on for maybe about a month. She would come in and listen. By that time, Malcolm was speaking. But what our mother was getting at, what I was told my mother was getting at, was that she wanted to see consistency. She wanted to say, okay, y'all talking about the white man and black oppression, do it for self today. Let's see if you're going to talk about that tomorrow. Let's see if you're going to talk about that 2 weeks from now. Let's see if you're going to talk about that a month. And they stayed the same. The consistency and sincerity brought my mother in. So she said, I'll join this. And so she joined and my father joined. And like I said, they met in 1963. They got married. And my father, he was, I guess, listening to how people talked about him, was really into a lot of symbolism, signs and mythology. Maybe that's I get that from, I don't know. He specifically wanted to get married on July 4th because that's when Professor Farad said he came here on their Independence Day. He specifically chose that day to get married. And that's, I take that as for our family, something very special and very symbolic for us, our a covenant with us that our parents made with Allah to have freedom for their children and for for their people. So yes, I was the second son born, and the Nation of Islam. I went to Muhammad's University of Islam, number 7. By then, I think Minister Farrakhan was the minister. He was the minister by then. And I remember certain things. I remember always, as soon as you came in, you saw the picture of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the security, and you got searched, but you had to salute the Honorable Elijah Muhammad before you went downstairs to start drilling. So as soon as you came in, you went drilling. And they started, you just jumped in and just had to learn how to drill. They didn't say, hey, let's wait for Brother So. If you didn't get it, you had to get it. So we got it and we drilled, and I was okay all the way up until they started to do the fast cadence. I was like, I got to stand out of this one. So, but alhamdulillah, I love the drilling. I love the cadence. And Imam Muhammad explained what that was for, and it helped. We were in school. It was a very disciplined. It was like a military school. Military, very disciplined, very respectful school. No noise. You could hear a pin drop in the school. All the classrooms were silent. They were quiet. Most of the teachers were women. We had deans and principals. I remember the respect we had to have for each other as children. If somebody did something wrong, you couldn't laugh at them. If they made a mistake, you couldn't make fun of them. If they had something wrong with their clothes, you couldn't say anything about it. If you did, you had to stand in front of the classroom holding 2 encyclopedias on each arm and in front of the class. But the class wouldn't laugh at you. You just stood there until your arms got tired and you just said, okay, sit back down, you learned your lesson. We lined up to go to the everywhere, really. And we learned the lessons about our history. We learned the Nation of Islam history, theology, all those different things. I remember whenever this brother named Bilal, I think it's Bilal Salam. I think he was one of the teachers in there. He's a photographer now. He was explaining to us about when we went out, and I remember these things. We went outside the school. We lined up, went outside the school. We lined up right in front of the school. The temple. And passerbys would come by and just look at us and we'd just be like, again, like soldiers. Whenever they said move, we moved. When they said stop, we stopped. We went to the train station. We waited. Everything was just like little robots. And he told me one time that all of our students were taken to the museum. And he said that specifically he noticed there was a Caucasian guy reading a paper. And we came in, and there may have been about 20 of us, I guess. And when the Caucasian guy put the paper down, he jumped. And he approached Brother Salam. He said, where did y'all come from? He said, we walked in the door. He said, y'all walked in the door? I didn't even hear you. They're all with you? Y'all came in? All these young kids? No noise? He just smiled. Said, wow, I never saw that before. So we were already, we didn't notice our specialty. That's exactly how we were. We respected the teachers. We loved our teachers. We didn't hear there's no foul language, no disrespect. We only went to school half a day, which is strange. We went in 8, not at 12. So we didn't see any girls. We didn't see any sisters. They came in at 12 and they left it. My sister came in at 12 and left at 3. We had our own school buses. We had our own school buses. We had a bakery downstairs. We had a Salam restaurant, which our father worked in a Salam restaurant, assisting managing it. He was a cook. Our mother, when she came in, she was because she was good in English and academics, she would help the other people get their X, write letters to get their X and learn how to read. And I have to also say, I put that in my bio, their names like that, just for attention grabbers. My mother, her name before she passed was Marsha and Sabree. So it wasn't the 17 after she passed. So it was Marsha Sabree. But yes, we had our own school, restaurant, health food store at the corner, barbershop. And across the street, we had Steak and Take and a thing called Books and Things, where we bought our books from and got our books from. So that was basically And for some reason, I just kept remembering families. You know, that's what I remember is just families. And I didn't even know some of the children in there were Muslim. You know, a lot of people just sent their children there because they loved the discipline that we had. So I didn't even know they weren't even a Muslim. So, but that was my that was a piece of my childhood. You know, when I was, I guess, up to 10 until the school. We also had our well, you know, the bean pies, the bean soup, the whole wheat toast. We had a special. Now, some of the people that are listening to it, if they're members of the Nation of Islam, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was everywhere, but it was in New York. I don't know the sister's name, but she made this one dessert. It was like a sesame seed, a ball of sesame seed. It was just, that was the best dessert. I gotta say, it rivaled the bean pie. If you never had it, you don't know what you're missing. Some people know what I'm talking about. It was one of the most excellent desserts she sold in the bakery, and she sold it on her own. And when she passed, she gave it to her daughter. Well, the problem was she never let the recipe out, so it died with them, unfortunately. But that was some of the best food we had, and the fish papers that we sold, the papers that came in. I can remember the Black Family Days, the Fish House. So for me, and I'm speaking for myself, everyone has their own reality. I'm speaking for me, myself, and partially my family. For us, that little corner was, for us, like Black Wall Street. There was nobody Caucasian, Asian, Vietnamese, Chinese, Arab, nobody that I saw in the school or anywhere else in there that was in charge teaching us, that we looked up to, but nobody but us.
So, I kind of want to ask this question about more so your experience. So, while in Muhammad University and while in the Nation of Islam, what was your take on the theology that was being preached by the ministers and by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about the Black man being God or being superior? Like, did you believe that? Like, tell us a little bit more about that stage and growth there in that movement.
Right. Well, like I said, as a child, whatever is taught, you know, you believe it if it comes from people that you trust. And we didn't really get, as a child, you don't really get a heavy grasp of what's happening as a child. Again, because all we saw was what was being presented, that we were in charge, that we were superior, that we were the best. You know, we didn't have any contradictions, or I didn't see any contradictions. I'll put it that way. I'll speak for myself. I didn't see any contradictions. So what we were seeing was, you know, again, it was like our own Black Wall Street. So the Black man being God, you know, we didn't really know the concept of God, you know, as children. We did see Professor Farad. We did have, now I speak for myself. Now my sister brought this up too. It always, and I have to preface it with this. For those people that try to make us look bad by saying, yeah, you know, that was a big mistake, Professor Farad doing that, trick y'all. If you pay attention to what Imam Muhammad said, this was his plan. We had a problem with seeing him as Black. That was Professor Farad's plan. He knew he didn't look Black. He knew that. He wanted a contradiction. For us to for us to have a contradiction, for us to strain our brain and say, well, why is he presenting himself like this? But he doesn't look like us. But that was part of his plan to get us to break free. But that was the only main thing that I looked at that I was like kind of strange. Like, why is this white guy, you know, God, and everybody else is Black? You know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and everybody else is Black. You know, I said, but it says he's Black. He's Black. You know, so I remember I'm just jump forward to come back. I remember I was in elementary school, and I think it was one of the students. I know he had to have had either been in the Nation of Islam or have family heavily in it, because we're talking about God, white Jesus and God, something like that. And he's out of the blue. He said, "Yeah, but your God is white." And I got heated. I said, "What? So he's not a white. That's a Black man." No, he's white. I know he looks white, but he's a Black man. You crazy? Don't talk about my God like that. But ready to fight him. But in the back of my head, I was like, he does look white, but they say he's Black. So I'm not gonna, you know, bit of a problem with that. Most of the lessons that I remember was, like I said, was social do for self etiquette lessons. loving each other, respecting each other, protecting each other, doing right by each other, trusting each other. Something that stuck out really well that I think I don't know if it was Professor Farad's language or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's, but I remember my mother always used to say, and this is how I think a lot. I never got to the point where you called people that were Muslim kafirs or anything like that. My mother would always say, well, they don't know, they're other than themselves. So that's how we saw them, other than themselves. And what was yourself? We were taught our own self was a righteous Muslim. So we always saw the black race, the African-American people, we always saw them as Muslims, but they didn't know it. That's what we thought. Well, y'all are Muslims, you just don't know it. Until you get to this point, you're other than yourself. When you're acting out, when you're acting disrespectful. If you're, regular, treating people nicely, we figure you're Muslim in action. So I really didn't have a problem with it. I think at 10 years old, I was 10 years old when the school closed. So the lessons, and again, Imam Muhammad said by then a lot of the lessons were already taken out of circulation. The 5%ers already had that by then. They were already, it was outside, not so much inside. But I do remember reading, which did stay in there, and I'm pretty sure the Imam didn't want it in there. I don't say pretty sure. I guarantee the Imam didn't want it in there. I remember reading about Malcolm in the books. And the book, it had a picture of the famous picture where he was in Muhammad Speaks with his head bouncing down on the street, and it said traitor. It had a nice beginning about Malcolm. Then it said he turned on the messenger as a traitor. I was like, wow, what? Oh, man. But that was really it. It wasn't ingrained like, oh, he's a devil, I hate him. Mainly because the teachers didn't push it, and because my parents didn't push it. There was no bad conversation about Minister Malcolm at all in my house. So probably those that had that, they probably felt something or some kind of negative feelings regarding Malcolm, but I didn't have it. So other than that, as I said, the lesson that we were learning was basically just mostly social lessons, and learning about God was merciful and he was going to save us. I remember the mothership speech. I remember that. And something, again, most of the stuff was really just, I guess, social edifications for us as children, and doing better and looking out for each other and respecting one another. So that's basically what I remember. Because again, like I said, I was 10 when the school closed. I didn't go. Maybe if I was a teenager, my mind would have been a little bit different.
Excellent.
So can you now elaborate a little bit more as we get into your life, to your teenage young man? Now you're older now. Can you elaborate about that portion of
Yes.
your life?
Before that, I want to go back a little. I do remember in my as I sit back and think about it, the subtlety of the Imam Muhammad on changing the nature of Islam. I do have to talk about the closing too, the dramatic closing.
Of course.
Before that too, this is just my habit. My aunt, I know, it may sound like bragging, but I'm proud of her, and I'm glad I use this as a, when people in different ethnic groups say, well, my parents was this and that, and they're from the so-and-so clan, they're from so-and-so. Well, my aunt, which is my mother's sister, Iris, she also joined the Nation of Islam, and she came to New York to help my mother, and she was Malcolm's secretary. And later on, she was called to Chicago, so she was also the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's secretary. And her second husband was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's chauffeur and the main deliverer of Muhammad Speaks. She said, for me, that's a badge of honor, and this is important because that's in the history books. So that's not a big deal. Well, to you, it's not a big deal, but to me, it's a very big deal. And to our people,
yeah, definitely is. Definitely is.
Lineage. So I mentioned that before. I didn't want to forget that. And my, she is like a grandmother. My Aunt Janice, who my mother's brother, John Mahdi, was married to. Her mother, he's going to kill me. I forgot her name. But she was close to Clara Muhammad, and she was one of the first persons to open the Clara Muhammad school. So that is also connected with us, alhamdulillah. So it's back to the Imam. So during a transition, I remember when we drilled, and I remember specifically the cadence we were drilling by. And the cadence were part of the cadence were, we are the black men of the earth. Let's show the people what we worth. Sound off Elijah, who Muhammad. Break it on down. Muhammad. Am I right? Am I right or wrong? You're right. But it would start off your left, right, left, right, left, right, left, your left. And why am I saying that? Imam Muhammad came in subtle. If you don't pay attention, you won't catch it. When Imam Muhammad came in, the new cadence, they didn't say, well, we're going to new cadence. They just said it. The drill instructor said, he started off, you're right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now, most people, what's the big deal? Left, right, no big deal. Subtle change. Words make people. And the cadence would change. We are the Muslim men of the earth. Let's show the people what we're worth. Wallace, who? Muhammad. Break it on down. Mohammed. Am I right? So there was a transition already happening in our heads, whether we knew it or not. So they would say it. It would be in our heads. We don't think anything about it. Okay, it's Wallace instead of Elijah. All right, that's But before that, my sister reminds me the day Savior's Day, when Elijah Muhammad passed, and we were at the armory. And I do remember my mother was she got dressed up, in all white, but she wasn't talking a lot. She doesn't talk a lot anyway, but she wasn't talking a lot. So we were just getting ready for Savior's Day, and we were just asking, okay, we're going to Savior's Day, and it was at the armory, 136. It was only 30-something street in the armory, and up in Harlem. And when we went, it was just, we're always quiet, but once in a while you hear some sisters or brothers, telling jokes or saying things, but it was silent because we didn't know that Imam had passed. And I heard people, you would hear back and forth. They said the messenger's dead. That's the devil. That's the devil saying that the messenger can't die. And we were taught that the messenger couldn't die. The Imam couldn't die. We didn't really know what that meant as children, but we knew, okay, the messenger can't die. The Imam can't die. And so we had, so that was the words going around that the messengers, one say he was dead, one say no, he's not. They don't say that. That's the devil's trick. So we got inside and we sat there. It was huge, security as usual. So we're sitting down looking, and it was said, to fast forward, it was said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed. And I looked at my mother, looked at my mother, and my sister was just looking at my mother, and mother just looked straight. My mother has that, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what my mother's thinking sometimes. She just keeps a straight face. I know it broke her up inside, but she just kept straight looking at the screen. And my sister told me, and I said, wow, yes, it did happen. You've never saw, this is how deep I know it got the rest of the members. You saw security leave their posts. Security started to leave their posts. To where the captain had to say, what are you doing, brother? Get back on your post. What you doing? They're shouting at them. I was like, what's going on here? I said, why is this guy leaving this? So they got back on post because their mind said, the messenger's dead. They couldn't take it. But they said, get back on post, brother. Get back on post. Get back on post. So they got back on post, and I was like, wow. And it just went out of my head until my sister brought it up. I'm like, wow, right. That's how much it affected them. So again, the closing of the school, I remember, that was weird too, because the last day of school, we weren't told it was closing. We just said, well, we're into the school year, and we had a party. Now this is how I knew something was kind of strange. We had potato chips. Wise potato chips. We never ate potato chips. Never ate potato chips. We had Hawaiian punch. I was like, Hawaiian, what is this?
Hawaiian punch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Never had Hawaiian punch. I was like, this is kind of weird. Why are we? Oh, well, your kid, I'll eat it. It doesn't matter. So, and my sister was, I think, I'm not sure if we were brothers and sisters were there at the same time. I'm not sure. I remember my sister saying, hey, we'll see you next year. And the sister was like, she didn't say, yeah, but there was no next year. My mother didn't say anything either. I think we stayed a year out of school. Our mother took us down south for a year, stay with our grandmother and stuff. When we came back, then that's when the transition happened. That's when that's when the transition happened.
That's a good segue before we go to the transition. that halftime part. Station identification. You've been listening to New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment and development. I'm your host, Brother Deen, here with Imam Bilal Hassan, with a special new series kicked off today called Birth in a Nation, Growing into a Community, live on NFX. And we have our dear brother, Hakim Sabree. We're going to come right back. We got a little clip. I think your brother posted this today with Muhammad Ali sharing a little bit of his position on the transition. A real brief clip. We're going to play that and come back and follow up.
Well, outside of the boxing arena, Ali was also very active in the political arena. In 1976, he appeared on Face the Nation, where he spoke about that year's presidential elections and his experience about being Muslim in America.
Mohammed, since this is a political year, do you have a favorite among the presidential candidates? And more interestingly, has anyone asked you for support?
No, they haven't. Made a statement the other day about I'm not voting for no one. I don't know enough about politics, nor do I want people watching this show to be influenced by my feelings, because I don't know enough about it. But the only administration that I really have liked is Ford's administration. For the simple fact, immediately after beating George Foreman, I was invited to the White House and met him and his daughter. King Hussein was just in the country, and he thought enough of me, knowing that he was a Muslim. Of my religion, he thought enough of me to invite me to entertain him and to meet him at the White House. So I've been to the White House twice. So if I had to do any voting, which I don't know enough about politics, but I like President Ford and his administration.
Can I go back to the money just for a minute?
Just a moment on this question of endorsing somebody. You have also said that you would vote for Jimmy Carter, have you not?
I mentioned no names.
Seems to me you were on the record in a newspaper article as saying you would vote for Jimmy Carter.
I remember I said no name. I said there's a certain fella, I just like his smile.
Well, were you put off by the ethnic purity remark that he made?
No, I don't know nothing about that. I don't condemn people for making remarks or making statements. I'm sure we all make statements off camera that would get us all in trouble. But because somebody made a mistake, I'm one who's been criticized for things I've said, so I'm the last one to condemn any man for something he said, because I'm a victim of the same circumstance.
Well, you leave us kind of hung up. You like Jimmy, you like a man with a certain smile, and you like President Ford.
I didn't say no name. I like your smile.
You like a man with a certain smile for president, and you like President Ford. Are you going to vote for both of them?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say I like him for president. I just said I like the image of a certain man. I like the way he smiles. I see all the politicians smiling. What make you think I mean Carter?
I pursue this for one particular reason. There's been a big problem lately in a diminished vote from the black segment of the American population. The blacks have not been voting in anywhere like their past strength. And so I wonder whether you, as one of the recognized figures of the black community, might give a push to black voting, or whether you think of this as important.
I think it's important if the man we vote for does the right job and means right for all people. I don't know too much about politics, so this is why Carter, Ford, or whoever, I cannot openly make a statement who I'm supporting or who I'll vote for, because I don't know. But the administration that I like, and the one, I've been under a few presidents since I've been popular, but I've never been honored like I have by President Ford.
If I can go back just for a minute, and this is obviously meant in a spirit of friendliness. The question of the Islamic religion and your future in that. The impression one gets is perhaps it is loosening up a bit after the death of Elijah Muhammad. Do you think it's changing now, and that your role in it can change in view of
what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught was good for the time during the 30s when black people were being castrated, lynched, deprived of freedom, justice, equality, raped. He had to teach that the white man is a devil. His actions towards us is that of a devil. Now that we're no longer being lynched, raped, castrated, we're given equal justice. We can go anywhere to live. Even the North fights the South so we can have certain rights. People are not acting this way today. So Honorable Wallace D. Muhammad is on time. He's teaching us it's not the color of the physical body that makes a man a devil. God don't look at our colors. Minds, hearts have no color. God look at our minds and our actions and our deeds. So we have white Muslims, brown Muslims, red Muslims, yellow Muslims, all colors. So it's the color. So the big thing in the change now now. We have white people who have accepted our faith, and we now recognize all men as brothers, and we look at them according to their works. Some blacks can do evil and white, so it's not the color. Now we look at the...
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, as you see, that clip ties right into, as you were giving us the timeline and evolution of the community, you were one who actually lived during that period, as you said, as a youth, transitioning into the new transition as a whole community. You know, how was that from your perspective?
Yeah, to go back, keep going back. I guess for myself, the image that I saw of us as a group, members of the Nation of Islam under the Honorable M.G.T Muhammad, as a child and as a young person, the effect that it had, I guess, on us, on myself, how I perceived myself. There was I think an article I put, prelude to this program, I mentioned something that I saw on or it's not heard, I heard in a movie called Hancock. They were getting ready to put him to jail, and he was apologizing for his, messing up in the city and stuff. And he said something. I said, "That man," he made a statement. I said, "Man, that fits me. That fits our group." He said, "Life here is hard for me." He said, "Because I'm the only one of my kind." And that's reality. That was our thinking as members of the Nation of Islam, young, some old, that we were one of a kind. It's very special. There was nobody like us, unless you were one of us. Maybe those that knew more and ventured out more had a different take, but that's what I saw. I'm just going to mention one instance, and then I'm going to go to the process of the transition. And I was talking with a friend of mine, Eric Shamsuddin. I don't know if you know Ismail Shamsuddin as a son. And I was mentioning about how sometimes we would go to the temple, and I'd be walking down the street, and that era, the 70s era, was the big heroin era, big drug era. The 70s was just, if you made it through that, you were Superman. That was, especially up in Harlem. Abandoned cars, abandoned buildings, drug addicts, most of the places, dilapidated situations. We were still struggling, but it was just a bad situation. So I grew up on 125th, Amsterdam. So anyway, we were on our way walking, I guess, to the bus, or maybe we were walking to the temple at 116th Street. And if you had a camera, you could make this part of a movie. My mother would be wearing her white. Sometimes we'd be wearing a blue or green, depending on what day it was, her M.G.T uniform. And literally, you would see dope fiends, dope addicts. I mean, they would be bent over, about to hit the floor, but they never would hit the floor. Some would be passed out, some would be drinking, and we'd have to kind of walk through them. And my mother didn't have to say a word. And people say, "Oh, you're making this up." No. When they saw her, the guy leaned up. The guy with the bottle put the bottle. "I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry." The brother stopped smoking. Sorry, sister. Sorry, sister. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry. Please, sister. I'm sorry for looking like this, sister. All of them apologized. She didn't have to say anything. She was like, "I'm Mary." She just walked. They just saw her. Said, "Oh," but what did they see? They saw the best of themselves. They said, "That's my mother. That's my grandmother. That's what we wanted the Black woman to be," and we respect it in our most dilapidated state. So I'm looking at this as a kid, like, wow, we are something. We're powerful. Not like, oh, powerful man, but like, yeah, the Nation of Islam, Junior F.O.I, that's right. Then I look back, part of the psychology, and I'm not sure if it was Professor Farad again or the Honorable M.G.T Muhammad, but the members look like nuns. The way they wore their covering, so they look like Black nuns. So what was it saying to the average Black person that saw them? That they were special and holy like Mother Mary, and they deserve respect too, because the image that they had of the white man or white woman in that garb, now they have for the Black person in that garb. Very strategic man, Honorable M.G.T Muhammad and Professor Farad. Very scientific, psychological thinkers. But I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was just me that it happened to me, but Eric said it happened to him. I was like, wow, so it may happen to other people too. But even the respect that I remember in front of the temple. I'm sorry for going back. My mind just hits these different things because I'm coming to a point. The temple, there would be, I guess, on the right and across the street, you know, drug addicts, drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes. And they would literally, you didn't have to do anything. Security was standing outside, but they would literally walk in the street when it came to the temple area. And until they got back out of the area of the block, except the temple is a whole block, the corner, they would walk in the street till they got to the corner and then start walking back on the sidewalk. They would step off the sidewalk, walk on the street, walk all the way to across the street. They wouldn't even want to walk in front of the temple like that. If the dress was too high, if they were drinking, if they were smoking, if they were using perfect, they respected it so much. And as a kid, it's like, whoa. So your mind's like, we are something special. And you're proud of it. Even when they had the shootout, me and my older brother Mustafa, we were there when they had the famous shootout at number 7. And our father was there too. I didn't know he was in the restaurant. And even that, it was something to behold. I remember a bullet came through the window. We were in the classroom. I heard a crack. And the bullet and the teacher went outside and she said, class, get up. No panic. Nobody's screaming. Nobody yelling. I don't know what was going on. It was just, again, line up, go into the hallway, walk down the step, go down the back, quiet as a mouse. Now we got outside, we heard the commotion, but upstairs, we didn't know what was going on. It was so disciplined, we didn't know what was going on. And later on, we looked across the street before the brothers started to come to try to take us home. The place was swarmed, and I heard that the place was packed with people that were put out of their nation roughed up, people that were not allowed, people that were in front of the temple saying, "You're not going to harm these brothers and sisters. You're not going to harm them." To the police, say, "You're not going to bother them." So all that works on the mind of the people that were members that were sincere to say, "Man, we were something special." So fast forward to the transition. So now we can't come back to the school. So now we have to start our public school experience, which is a book in itself. So I think I'm 12 years old, 11 to 12 years old. And we also found out that we were 2 grades ahead of the regular people that were in 5th grade. I started 5th grade. So I was basically a 7th grader, but my mother put us back, So I was like, okay. And I came to the school, and the blessing was I didn't want to go because we were running late. But when I got there, everybody was already in the classroom. And, it was, and as I was coming down the hallway, I heard noises, yelling, profanity. I was like, what is this? To me, it was like Lords of the Flies. What's happening here? These are kids, black kids? So I come into the classroom. I'm shaking. I don't want to knock on the door like, what? Oh, man, what's going on here? So I was about to walk away. The janitor says, "Hey, boy, you need to get in there." Yeah, I'll open the door for you. Like, don't open the door. So he opens the door. And I step into the class. And everybody's head just says, whoop. I'm just looking at them, look at me like, oh, man. Now, it didn't help that I was dressed like this. 12-year-old kid with a suit and tie. Corduroy suit at that because it was the winter. With a briefcase. So I'm like, they're like, what is this? Everybody's looking at teachers out. The class, I like it. White teacher. A white teacher? Man. It's like, can it get any lower? I got a white teacher. Kids are acting up, cursing. Girls cursing. Oh, man. It's like, wow, this is too much for me, man. It's too much for me. So I guess I was shaking. My eyes were blinking. I was just nervous. Everybody's looking at me, what's the matter with this? The word did you. So I get into class, and the minute I sit down, I find the seat in the back. And I'm saying all this because other students had this experience. And I immediately sit down, back straight, head up, and clasp my hands on the desk, straight. And everybody looks like, what's the matter with this kid? And I'm just sitting there listening to the class. Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. So for me, I was like, after it was over, whatever it was, went back home and said, Ma, I don't want to go back to school. I want to go back to school. My sister, none of us want to go back. She said, you got to go back to school. I said, when's the university going to open? When's the university up? Well, I don't know. It never did. Man. So that was kind of the beginning of the transition of the history that we had was to be no more. But it wasn't explained. I also have to say this too. This is also part of personal information has to come out too for whoever's giving the I guess interview, which I'm more comfortable with now. My mother made the transition with us, or we made it with her. I'll say it that way. My father didn't make the transition, which I thought was like kind of rare, but it was common. Some made it, some didn't. He liked the old teaching, the old discipline, the old way it was. He didn't like when the imam came in. For whatever reason, he didn't like it. I remember specifically, me and my brother went, he had a store in the corner of, I think it was 121st Street, like a corner, in the middle of the block. It was a candy store he owned with his cousin. And we asked him, we sent there to get some money for the house. And I told my brother, I said, you ask him. He said, okay. And he said, Daddy, when you coming back? So our father said, I'm not going to come back till they stop saying Elijah Muhammad is dead. So he wasn't coming back. And I'm saying that again. I'm giving this information for people that don't know what happened, don't know the psychology, and people that did, so they can see that it didn't have to end to just that reality. So he said that, and my mother, and it wasn't the same day we told what he said, but I remember specifically our mother said, I think it was a meeting they had in the temple, and she came home and she was kind of frustrated. And she was just talking out loud. She said, I don't care what anybody says. Whoever's in this house follows Deen Mohammed. So that's in our head. Like, all right, man, we don't know what that meant. All right, follows Deen Mohammed. We don't even know. So, but I look at it as a young person with the Nation of Islam transition and not much information being given to us. And I'm not faulting Imam Muhammad, though some people would like us to, but I don't. The information wasn't given to us on what was happening. So especially as a young person, to me, it was like, I remember Shah was speaking about, imagine African life being stripped of African life without any warning and being placed in North American life, another whole reality, and functioning like that. That's what happened. That's how I saw it as a child. So now I'm in a public school being taught by white teachers, all kinds of children, everyone's disciplined. I'm among finally people that are other than themselves. Not everybody, but some of them. So it was a strange feeling, just weird. And all we were looking for was just to find each other. I was trying to find, well, who's like me? Who's like me? Who's like me? And I remember when I got there, they would ask, where are you from? So what are you talking about? So you say, you Jamaican? No, why would I be Jamaican? You African? No, I'm a black man. From where? America? Harlem? What? You ain't from no Harlem, man. 125th. Oh, come on, man. You ain't. But I'm thinking about how I'm speaking, how I'm presenting myself. It's not, no, Harlem, son, no, I ain't from, I'm speaking like I'm, to them, not to disrespect the level of education, but my diction is more proper. So I guess to them they heard, no, I'm not a Jamaican. I believe I'm a black man from America on 25th Street. And I guess how they heard it. To me, I'm like,
welcome to America moment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Coming to America.
Exactly. So I'm like, wow, And
before you continue, because you made something real interesting, and it's an ongoing discussion, and one of the things that people try to do is pin our leaders against each other, right? And they try to put personalities against each other. So when you just made that statement before you got into the experience about the transition, and some people blame the imam, some people don't. They call them all type of names. From your perspective, what is that? Like, unpack that just a little bit before we start to close out.
It's like, again, it's like a conscious. I guess it would be a conscious idea of what a lot of people thought. Again, because a lot of the people that were supposed to explain what the transition weren't. They were the ones complaining about it and saying things about it. That I do remember too. Now that's one thing I go back again. I do remember them saying things about the Imam when I used to go to, because sometimes we had Saturday school. It wasn't Claremont Muhammad School. We had Saturday school, and they would say stuff about the Imam, but Minister Wallace, it wasn't favorable. But when I came home, my mother never said anything bad about it. But I'm thinking that life that they had of camaraderie, of being special. I just put it all in one show. Being special, being unique as an African American, having a voice, having authority, having people look up to you, having that kind of respect. We didn't understand that was really a transitional phase until we can get to our own independence to have that made for our own individual self. So I think the group picture was looked at, which is good, but the bad idea was that they believed that it had to stay in that picture of the Nation of Islam for it to be valid and to be progressive. So anything rattling that was a problem. And again, if you got it from the ministers, I'm not gonna say ministers' names because everybody knows most of them, then you felt it was worse. Wallace is changing this, Wallace cut that out, Wallace did this, Wallace did that. It was all Wallace, nobody but Wallace. Nobody else made it, nobody did anything wrong except Wallace. So even we put the chairs out from upstairs in the when I was in Musalla. As kids, we was like, hey, we ran around the Musalla, hey, no more chairs, falling on the floor, acting silly. It's space for kids. But they were like, no more chairs to sit down. Wallace. It's just, it was like a movie. Wallace did this and Wallace did that and Wallace did that. And his father disrespected his father like Elijah Muhammad. Captains did, I'm not gonna say any names, lieutenants saying. So the people really that were kind of in charge, not all of them, and mostly the men. You have a couple of women, but most of the men that lost their position. And I understand that too, because as slaves and being treated bad on the outside by the white man on the outside, we wanted a position on the inside that was respectable. But too many of us took advantage of that, and we didn't have an honorable position as captains and lieutenants. Too many people went the extreme and started treating people bad, and we thought that that's how it should be. So they missed that part, and they kind of vomited on the rest of the sincere followers, and whoever's ears were, I guess, open to that, they kind of accepted that. So it was really like a form of past life. It was similar to like Imam Rashad was saying about my brother was telling about in the class he was going over Moses and the people when they got taken out of Egypt. They wanted to be in that life that the Egyptian leaders had, but they didn't want them over them. Like we want to be in the life that the white man had, but just didn't have the white man over us. So they kind of missed that, they missed putting on a uniform and doing certain things. And I never knew what kind of psychological effect it had on us. This brother, Yaqub was telling me, my father, he had that same psychological effect. He said, whenever he put the F.O.I uniform on, he became, Superman, because that F.O.I uniform to him gave him a sense of
pride.
Right.
Yeah.
You would see him also like a military man. So it's like, I don't down like, oh, you put the F.O.I. I wanted one myself. I liked that. I was like, man, matter of fact, I think we were almost ready to get one. Then it just closed. I was like, but yes, I think that was what it was, that we had an idea of what the Nation of Islam was supposed to be. And we weren't ready. Not all of us, the ones that should have been ready, put it that way, weren't ready. And so they have to blame it on somebody. So they blamed the Imam. And so that's why a lot of problems came in. Even the school, I was told, the Imam was telling them really why our school had to close for besides financial reasons. He was telling them they had to change the curriculum, the teaching, and they didn't want to change it. But yet it's Wallace's fault. See, again, because you wanted your own reality. And again, as kids, you didn't know, but like I said, home also made a big difference. This is also part of my transition explanation. Home made a very big difference in how the transition was made. This is my observation. Like I said, my father didn't make it. My mother made it. But my mother made it on really faith, not academic, really, like what the Imam was saying. She would tell us, she would say, I don't know what he's talking about. Mostly said, but I know I'm supposed to be here, and I'm going to listen to Allah brings me to where I'm supposed to be. She'd be there on 4th Sundays, and anything the Imam implemented, she did. Whatever it was. She would become a sailor. She didn't like to talk to anybody. But when they had ANCAP and all that stuff, she just went out and started selling stuff. Whatever it was the Imam implemented, she followed. She was under the Elijah Muhammad like a super soldier. Same thing under the Imam. Our parents, after that, our parents had to split. They didn't get along. They would argue in the house. But again, this is the blessing. I'm listening to other people, as I'm older, talk about their experiences in their houses. No, not so much Muslim, but like how they were, my mother would do this, my father, my uncle, and they'd be no profanity. They wouldn't make fun of each other. They wouldn't talk bad about the leadership or us. They would just argue about, finances. That's about basically what the big thing was. It'd just be loud. So there would be no cursing, no N word, no B word, none of that. So we kind of got a weird, so I was like, was it really that bad? Yeah, I mean, it was bad. When your parents argue, but it's like, to listen to what other people had to go through, I was like Sesame Street to a degree. I'm not saying it was the best times, but I'm saying, I can't really so hideous. When I look back and say, it was bad because you don't want to see your parents arguing, but the respect that they had. And I realized they didn't do the, what do you call it? The common, because my father was very, very light. A lot of his family, I thought they were white. One time we went to I don't know if it was a reunion or something like that with our mother, and I was like, wow, what are these white people doing there? He said, hush. Those are your cousins. Green eyes, blue eyes, straight hair, red hair. Like, what? Who are these people?
That goes back to not to cut you off, Hakim, but that goes back to one of our previous conversations on the show when we talked about the color consciousness piece and how this perception of black and white, or this misperception of black and white, it's a false narrative. And like, you'd be surprised if we go back into, like you said, your cousins, how they don't look quote unquote black,
right?
But like, it's not a monolith. Our people is not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? And because of the mixing, because of slavery, you know what I'm saying? A lot of our relatives, if you look back further in our family tree, you're gonna find people that's gonna look quite fair and quite light skinned. It's just the reality.
Yeah. I like to use this. I'm glad I heard it. I tell my friends about it. Adam Clayton Powell, he was giving a speech.
Yes.
I love that speech. He said, I like to tell my black brothers, because he's talking to the black man, not the women. He said, you ain't got to go outside to get women like that. He said, we got everybody from chalk, that means pure white, to charcoal. So you ain't got to go nowhere. I use that for this. That's good. Look, they got, but anyway, that's just me. But, and, my mother was dark skinned, but there was no, you black, you what, none of that was there. So even with us, like some of us are dark, some of us are light in our family. We were kids, you get angry with each other, but it would never go color conscious. We'd never say, none of that. It would just be, you were slow in school, which we shouldn't have said, or you overweight, but that it would never go to color because our parents never did it. And the transition situation, my mother, I was going to use this word, but I said I'm not going to because it'd be too much to explain. Our mother never allowed any sensitivities to touch her. Scriptural talk. Like Mary, may Bobby peace with her, said, no man has touched it, meaning what? No other ideology came into her mind. Others, when the man came into office, they thought they knew where they were supposed to go. They had sheikhs, they had other people, rabbis, wherever it was. You could tell they were listening to other people, Africans, wherever it was. But our mother never, there was no books, there was no tape, there was nothing outside of Imam Muhammad. Before that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We had no excuse. We couldn't go anywhere. So if we flaked, there would be punishment on us. And that was part of her wish before she passed. A lot of, which is still good. A lot of parents want their children to be Muslim, which my mother does. But, and then, this may offend certain people, but I'm just going to say it. Were we to be just Muslim and not be in the association of Imam Muhammad, respect the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, our mother wouldn't even open the door for us if we came back. That's how our mother was. I don't want to see if you're not with the Imam. Thank you, Ma. I love that. Beautiful. That kept us where we were supposed to be. So, yes. So the home transition, if you were dipping and dabbing, going out, listening to somebody come back with the Imam, that also affected you. If you were going back to the old lessons, sneaking off to Mr. Farr, kind of stuff, and then it affected you and your children to how they later continued their religion. So, but the public school situation, it after a while, like Allah says, the outer creation is a bigger influence than us as a creation, and eventually it can happen. After a while, I remember the day the teacher used to always go, "Why can't you be like him? Why can't you be like him? Why can't you be like this?" But like, oh man. So of course you got to get into fights because it's like you have to, you got to be a perfect black. So because everybody's pointing the teacher on at me, but after a while, with problems inside the mosque and the temple and problems inside the house, I remember the first day my younger brother says it to Ahmed, you just start to slump. I slumped in the seat, leaned back, no more folding arms, started to say, yeah, right. Nah, yeah. You couldn't tell. But the blessing was Allah always had, for people that were sincere, even if they didn't know they were supposed to be where they were supposed to be, Allah always had sincere angels, forces helping. What would help me, I'm speaking just for myself, my sisters and brothers too, I guess, the people you tried to be around or in the vicinity of sometimes that weren't the best for you, they would never let you forget. No, he's a Muslim. He don't do that. You're Muslim. You don't do. You're Muslim. You're Muslim. Yeah, but hey, come on, guys. He's a Muslim. He don't. That's really Allah saying you're a Muslim. That was the blessing. If that happened to anybody that's in my listening voice, that was Allah helping you. The people were telling you you're a Muslim. We don't want to see you like that. We don't want to hear that from you. So I mean, there was nothing really. For me, there was no real, the drugs weren't a problem. The smoking was, I hate the way people smoke. I hate the alcohol because you embarrass yourself. None of that stuff was a problem. Only girls, because you just wanted to have sex as you were at that puberty era. Let's be real. So that was the only problem for me. Allah bless you not to do that, but that was the only struggles. All the other stuff, some people fell into alcohol, some people fell into drugs, never got up. Some people, unfortunately, they became homosexual and all those different things, depending on what happened in their life and in their family structure. But for me, the blessing, again, that was the biggest struggle, because, now, you can see girls. Like, wow. Because in temple, they came after you came to school. And by then, you just had, brother, salam alaikum, salam. You couldn't really, if you like someone, like, oh, man, you can't talk to them, brother. So, but that was the only real thing, that was really the struggle for me. But after a while, you said you started to blend into their reality. But before that, I remember, you were always looking for that. If y'all remember Roots, when Kunta Kinte was looking for Fanta and he finally found her, and he was so elated and he was happy because he thought he found his past. And it was like, whoa, but his past already changed. And she's not Fanta of the old Muslim realm anymore. She's different already. So it's like, damn, my past is gone. So that's what I mean by life out here is hard. We're only one of our kind. Very, very strange. So we were looking for that. Everywhere we try to find the old teachers, old people. Like, when are y'all going to bring to school? People just changed. So I was just basically saying it's time to move on. So we went through I went through my own, reality of trying to blend in, fit in, again, not doing anything wrong, deceitful, just, hanging out with people. One of my earliest best friends, Oliver Turner, got me into bringing me out of my shell, being more comedic, and being more comfortable being comedic. Just went to talk to girls, hang around girls, hug girls, hold their hand, whatever. I remember I was we had to take a graduation picture, junior high school. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the girl's name. So you want to take a picture? Oh yeah, I liked her. She was nice. And she said, "You want to take a picture?" Okay, yeah. She put her arm around me. I was like, "What the wow!" I was like, "Man, I can't. Jeez, no." She just rolled out. But anyway, it's just like, but you couldn't, for some of us, the image of, how you had to respect yourself, you couldn't do for so many things. So me feels like I couldn't hurt my mother to do that. I was thinking about my mother, and my mother she would never tell us about, oh, Allah sees you, Allah does that. No, she would always put it on you. She said, now you know better. She would always say, now you know. It would never be Allah and the messenger. It would just be, Now, you know better than that, Hakim. You know better than that so-and-so. You know better than so-and-so. And I always worked never to disappoint my mother. But basically, so when we started to, basically get into the world's environment, and we kind of started to go our own ways, even as a family, we started to go our own ways, and we started to act like we weren't supposed to act. Again, no drugs, no drinking. One thing I did appreciate when I look back, we never wanted to be around each other when we weren't acting like we were supposed to act. That's a lot. That's a blessing. We never. Now, some families, they all got together and did the same thing together. They didn't care. But us, we never wanted to see. By someone, why she was look, I don't want to be around you and this is happening. So that was a blessing from Allah too. But I think after a while, when the Imam started to, I do remember us doing the fourth Sunday hookup and making a prayer over the airwaves. But after that, I think I did it a couple of times. I stopped making my prayer. I'm stuck full of, brother. Yes, I did for a long time. A lot of us did too. So I wasn't reading the Quran. I wasn't doing any of those things. But I wasn't doing anything sinister. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And but I think by the time I got to high school was really, when I got to high school, junior high school was like, you started, you thought you were one of the group, one of the guys, one of the fellas, and just, you hung out a lot, and, you were kind of Muslim by name, but also I was Muslim by name, but also by, they could still tell I was different. I never fully blended in with whatever was happening. That's the blessing about that. And I was Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Real quick, Hakim, yes, the period you mentioned about the prayers, starting the prayers, did you guys do the Jummah prayers? Were you?
Yes. We had to go to prayer, but again, like most young people, we were, by that time, the steak and take was open more, and we were like teenagers and stuff by then. So again, we weren't paying that much attention to the Jummahs. We were like, yeah, we go to Jummah. We went, but just, okay, what's it gonna be? Okay, whatever. Sunday talk. We just wanted to run across the street, talk about stuff, listen to the music. That was like our Arnold's for Happy Days. Steak and take to me, that was like our Arnold's. We sat there, ate steak and take, fish burgers, the fries. That was just our kind of like our own recouping of the Muslim life that we had before the transition, and we still missed it. So whenever we got a chance to see the younger people, we just gravitated and stayed there. We weren't really into, most of us, I say some of us were, but most of us weren't really into learning the lessons and reading the Quran and making the prayer. That was like, okay, we have to do it because we have to do it. But there was no major incentive in us doing it, and I guess because we were used to, when we did it, I guess the outside presence said, great work or amazing. So we were looking for that to happen to us, I guess. Made the prayer. Oh, it looks how you make the book, how you make the prayer, look how you read the Quran. But that wasn't happening. It was more now you just in your house, you by yourself, and the accolades you got were from Allah. It was just on you. So, again, making the prayer, standing all this time, your favorite TV show is on, you're rushing through the prayer, So, and by the time I was in high school, that was kind of, we went to high school art and design. This I have to definitely say, high school art and design. It was an amazing high school. It just had everything. But it was in like 57th Street. It was like, basically it was in a white neighborhood, white area, upper class neighborhood. So when I went there, me and my brother went there, older brother went there, we're coming down now, I'm full, I'm Harlemite, what's up? I got the walking, I'm black man from Harlem, 125th. So I'm coming down the block and I'm looking at the corner and I always see a bunch of goth heads, mostly white kids, some regular, Puerto Rican kids and Chinese, like, this school ain't nothing. This school ain't nothing, man. Not that we're going to do anything, but just that school, it's a regular soft school. But I turn the corner and I see this Latino brother, Jorge Pavon, Popmaster Fable. He looks like 7 feet tall, black, leather fish hat, long black trench, black glove, just staring down, looking at somebody showing him like a black boy he did graffiti in. This other two guys are on the side rocking. That's a dance I can't explain to y'all, but I'm like, what? So then I start to see the B-boys and the hip hop. Oh, this is something different. This school is after all. Whoa. So after that, we just got, I got into like, what? This school, and then the artists, my mind just got lost in the art and people, the illustration, the cadence, but so I just got caught up in that, still knowing I'm a Muslim, but not practicing. You just gotta be honest. I was just so happy about, I guess I found a new reality. And my new reality was that. I got into dance by watching. I just go quickly. That was another. I just go quickly. I saw Fable on stage dancing, and when he came out dancing, I was like, "What? I gotta learn that, man. I gotta learn that." Oh, so I learned that. Now I got another group. So now I'm in another crew. I learned how to draw better. So like that kind of camaraderie I had in the nation kind of was not the same, but I had in my mind, a new purpose and a new identity, and I got credit for doing something. That's where I met my best friend, became my dance partner, Richard Carroll, Lex, for like, friends like 30 years. 30 years. We've been still friends for 30 years. But what I do realize too is what Allah blessed me with, and it's only the mercy of Allah. He kept me around good people, meaning this, like my best friend, I can say he's a Christian, believer in God, you know. My other friend, Jorge Pavon, became, Muslim. Everyone I was around, really, even the crew that I was with, they all had like a God-fearing quality. So I was never really around the people that kind of lost. They were all the way lost. That was a blessing. I hung around them sometimes, but that wasn't my main group. Allah kept me around that kind of environment, which is a blessing. So then I also was working in the bakery. But I also like to say this too before I forget. I made a specific thank you thing. I had to publicly thank Brother Kasib Hassan and Naba Ali for basically giving me and my brothers and my family the opportunity to work for a Muslim company, a Muslim job. Me and my 4 brothers worked there. He hired all of us, and he hired us because, and we have to start being more open. We can't just say, "Well, don't tell me I hired him." Yes, again, because our father wasn't with our mother, it wasn't with their father. We later got on, my mother passed now, so I can say stuff. We were on welfare, and there were times we needed money in between. We buy some food. There were some days we went without food. This isn't a sob story. It's just me being sincere. So she would go to, I remember it was a Dominican store on Broadway, and she would give us a note, and we give it to the proprietor, and I guess it would say, I need ABCD, and I'll pay you next week. And the person saw it, gave him the stuff, gave us the stuff. We went home with some food. Next week we came back and paid him the money. That went on for a while. Then we went to the bakery, did the same thing. So much so the burger said, I guess he said, you know what? These kids need help. Their family needs help. So he talked to his partner and said, so he hired my brother Mustafa. I think Mustafa was like 13 or 12 years old. So he hired my brother Mustafa. So then, we didn't need the notes anymore, but he said, you know what? He's a good worker, so let me hire your other brother. After let me hire your other brother, let me hire Aziz, let me hire Khalid, let me hire Ahmed. So all 5 was just working at the bakery. So I thank Allah for them for hiring us to seeing Muslims taking care of Muslims. So that was in the back of our head, even though I don't think we appreciate it as much as we did, but that was in the back of our head. So I have to thank Allah for that. So, but yeah, so we were in school, and that helped me pay for art supplies and stuff. But I still, again, wasn't where I was supposed to be. A lot of stuff, again, in the house wasn't explained as, again, the transition was happening, but my mother wasn't talking about a lot of things. So we were looking at the temple, the masjid, and they still had problems. The leadership was a problem. Some of the officials were problems. So, as a kid, like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm just hanging out. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't really want to deal with that. So I really want to deal with being a Muslim in practice. That was just me, because it was easier just to be a good person and go home and do your work and come back, take care of the family and just go home. But that wasn't what Allah wanted. So despite seeing a lot of people at the Temple Masjid, that started to dissipate. After a while, some people would come, some people wouldn't come. Some people would come, and after a while, you just stopped seeing a lot of people. We were blessed to be in the Youth Thrust. As we said, the youth initiative were young brothers and sisters that came together to taught the younger ones, which was us, me, my brothers and sisters, how to learn about politics, learn about religion, learn about social etiquette. That was the blessing that had in Mago Shabazz, that was allowed in Mago Shabazz under Imam Ali Rashid. Afterwards, not so much. But yes. So,
what's so funny? What's so funny?
Oh, first of all, I was going to make a comment about when you said about the youth thrust, and then you went to alluded to something there, but because this is another debate, right? This is another debate issue about the dismantling of the F.O.I. and M.G.T. right? But then there were different groups, like you said, at your masjid, you had the youth thrust, and other people had other activities for the youth. Can you just tie that in? Because I do want to move not to rush you, but
yes.
Well, no, because I mean you're going at a point right now. I wanted to lead up. You're very humble, but I wanted to lead up into something you did in 2003. That's when I first got to meet you. Well, not necessarily meet you, but know about you. I probably saw you before, but we was always vending and stuff like that. But I remember you and your brothers brought the Imam to Harlem.
Yes.
To Apollo. So not to speed up to that, but just to connect the youth piece, because that's very crucial.
Yes, sir.
And then we can lead to that.
Yes, sir. When I you need to push me. I'm when I get into my history, I get long-winded and just I reflect things that come to my mind. The youth group, it was called the Youth Thrust, and they were basically they were young themselves, and they were teenagers. We were like maybe just hit teens, and they would basically try to keep us Muslim. Basically, try to keep us Muslim. They have different things. We had Boy Scouts and stuff like that, and but we didn't know the struggles they were going through either. We didn't know their problems they were having and trying to stay Muslim in their own environment, their family. So, we were just, I guess, happy to be able to be there. And the sisters look, sisters that were there looked good, and we just like, okay. I was like, hey. So, they were older, but I was just like, oh man, but so, and again, we still had the bakery and stuff like that, so stuff was still there. Like I said, on the weekends I would sell Muhammad Speaks. So, we were that example for a while. And I was just going to say this too, if I remember, for those of us that came through that experience or any experience similar to that, don't let the people nowadays try to tell you, this is a public announcement, sorry, I gotta say, that you didn't do anything in the public sector to affect your community or your environment. What you did or what we did in our place of residence, we talk about jihad, Mount Shabazz, even as a child, being a disciplined young person, we affected people. Don't let I didn't do much until I joined the political party and started handing out. No. There was a teacher, my sister Sajid, who was a teacher. Actually, was a teacher. She was a principal in school, and he would hold a white, Caucasian guy, Jewish guy. He was like a hippie, and he was always mad at my sister because he would give her like flyers for some rallies against this, rallies against that, and she would never show up. And he would say, "Well, Sabree, I don't understand, Miss Sabree. Why don't you show up to these events? You the rallies, and you're supposed to be, care for your people. Why don't you show up?" She said, "Look, I'm black 24/7. I don't have to join that group to prove I'm black. And what about you? What are you for? You're always against something. Don't come to me about what the black man needs, what the black man doesn't. I know what he needs. So just because I'm not showing him at rallies and putting up signs doesn't mean I didn't do anything. You look at my history, you'd be amazed at what we did and how we affected people. So I just had to say that's a public announcement for us that came to that. They thought we didn't do anything. So anyway, so by the time we got to high school, the Imam was already moving around in the 80s. He was already moving around more, teaching and going specific places to teach the ministers to turn them into imams. But again, some imams some imams weren't giving us information. Some were stubborn. Some still were holding to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's theory, and they didn't want to change. And it would affect the teachers, and affect the students, and affect the followers. Again, I'm once in a while I'm in the temple, once in a while I'm not. I was like, okay, I'll come to see the people. We just came to see our friends, because it's not inviting to us to that the way it was supposed to be. So by the time I was, high school, got into high school, the dance and everything like that. We're doing movies, extras in movies, Beat Street, Last Dragon, Break, Crush Crew, and stuff like that. So we're getting excited. Yeah. So that's the life in my mind. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna be a big whatever, dancer, star, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm still Muslim, but it's not that bad. Oh well, it's not that big of a deal. Then one day I come home. My brother Ahmed already, because we all kind of stopped to a certain degree. But my brother Ahmed was the first to make a public statement in the house to make the prayer. And I remember he would come in the hallway and call the adhan. Allahu Akbar. I love his adhan. That's another story. Because he knew we weren't praying, but he wasn't afraid to say, either my older brothers and sisters, I don't care. I'm just going to come and do it. And to me, that's the imam of our family, my brother Ahmed, youngest brother. So I listen to him who he tells me is with the imam, when he says this and this, I pay attention to it because he's the one that did this for me. One day I remember my brother called the adhan. We were in the front doing something. I just came in, they got ready to call the. I just went to the back, you know, and I heard him call the adhan. I stayed there. And after my mother and my brother, I don't know if my sister, somebody made prayer with him. I remember some of my brothers might have made, I'm not sure. But I remember my mother came back to the room and she said, Hakim, yes? He said, your brother wants to know, why don't you make your prayer when he calls the adhan? And I was just like,
Wow.
I was like, yeah. Like, yeah, what am I gonna? So next time we call the adhan, I was there making the prayer. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? Because I'm I know better, you know. All of us, our whole family, we don't have. I'm telling you, Sabree representative, none of us have an excuse. Our mother never flaked. Our mother never fell off. Our mother, we always saw our mother sitting, reading the Quran, making a prayer by herself. When it was time for fourth Sundays, wherever it was, we didn't go, she went. She brought the paper back. She listened to the imam on the radio, tapes. There was there was never an excuse for us to say, well, our mother, our father. So our father wasn't there, so we can't blame our father. And when he was there, he didn't say nothing bad about them, or the imam or anybody else. So we can't use that. I'm just letting y'all know, when you see us, we have no excuse. You know, and when our mother was there, you know, she was just, for us, it's like Mother Mary. She just believed. She had faith, strong faith. And I guess she was at a point where, you know, it bothered her that her sons weren't doing so and so. They weren't where they're supposed to be. She just made the prayer. I guess she was praying for Allah to spare my children, help my children get back where they're supposed to get to. So after that, I just started making my prayer. So I was kind of shamed, as a lot of men have to get to, shamed to go into prayer. So I learned my prayer at the time. I had my brother learn the prayer. So I said, I got to go learn on my own, learn the prayer. I can't make, you know, I got to learn to make my prayer, learn to make my prayer. And by that time, the convention started. So my mother took us to the convention. And what else? So we were kind of like getting back into it. But we knew now when the convention started back, we had to be Muslim. We couldn't be, you know, because everybody knew we were. Your brother Charles' son, brother Charles' son. This the Mary said, your brother Charles used to, you know, did so much for us. Your brother Charles, yes, sir, yeah. So we had to we had to grow into that image. Whatever was put on us was a blessing. So, you know, by the time the convention started up, I remember one of the first conventions, another thing that helped me with the prayer, because I was just learning it. He says, that's Brother Charles' son. Brother, you know, I think Asa was in. Lead the prayer. What? I didn't know Arabic prayer. I was like, yeah. I knew the movements. And Allah Akbar, I was like, but see how merciful Allah was? It was a silent prayer. Allah it could have been Margaret, but it was a silent prayer. Allah just, so I made the prayer. I was like, I gotta learn this, man, like I'm supposed to. So it's like, I hate being embarrassed. So it was a pressure, you know, male pressure to get back to learning. So, you know, so I guess after that, I couldn't go back to pretend I didn't know. So I couldn't go back and pretend, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know if the man needs help. I don't know what's happening in the community. So now it's we were spotlit in the community. So I had to stay in the community and work and do work. And so we weren't really working in Malcolm Shabazz. We had problems in Malcolm Shabazz under the last end of the leadership of Ali Rashid, and the first leadership of the other imam took over. Our mother didn't like that leadership, so she left, stayed out of the masjid, and we tried to stay for a while, but we kind of left. So I said, but we got to work somewhere. We got to do something. So I said, let me try the Bronx. We used to go to Bronx, Woody Crest. So we went to the Bronx. And so I got there, and Imam Ali was the imam there already. So long story short, I came in and brought my brothers in. So we started working in Taqwa Jihad, and that's where we basically started to get our footing and listen to the imam to a degree. But I do remember just before that, what really got me, as you said, interested in the imam, listening to the imam, following the imam, was this. This is personal for me, I guess, and maybe for somebody else, it's the same. I had to have my history explained to me. I had to have it explained what happened. What happened to the Honorable Muhammad? What happened to Malcolm? Why did you become the leader? Why did you change? What happened? And it was just like Allah was talking to me. It seemed like one whole year, the Imam was just talking about the Nation of Islam. Every speech he did, except for I missed a couple, where I saw the Nation of Islam topic, I went. Jersey, Philly, Boston, Baltimore, Chicago, North, wherever it was, I saw the topic, I was there listening. Oh, so that's what happened. So that's what that. Oh, so that's who you are. So that's what happened. Oh, wow. Okay. Now I got my history back. Now you explain what happened to me. Now I can move. Now I can say yes. Now I can be proud. Okay, this is what we're supposed to do. So this is when, I said, okay, we're going to have to start, we maybe had the wrong idea about how we can help the imam. We didn't really use our talents. We thought, well, maybe our job is to just help the community get focused. So me and my brothers got together after a while and formed, first it was Muslims for Moral Revolution. And
Muslim
for a moral revolution. Your imam said, you need a moral revolution. So we had Muslim moral revolution. We were like, kind of like in our 20s, I guess. So we formed that group and we had like a big rally, in front of Marsha Shabazz. Ali Rashid, we had one rally, Ali Rashid led it, and the other one we had when Imam Pasha was there. That was a kind of that didn't go too well. But anyway, the response was great, but it didn't go too well. But from that, I guess I could say I was kind of like on a roll. To basically, we kind of patterned ourselves after like the thinking of Malcolm. I'm gonna say it like this: the Imam was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, meaning that's the leader, that's who we follow, that's where the instructions come from. He gives us the orders and we follow it, have the best of our directives. We don't listen to anybody else. We don't pay attention to anyone else. We don't have anything else coming to our head. So I'm jumping around to this point with the Imam at the Apollo. I just lost my job. I was working in the private sector, and I just lost my job. And that was after 9/11. And before I got my job at Transit. And I forgot, a brother was saying something about they wanted to bring the Imam in because he did some big thing in Baltimore. And they said, we want to bring the Imam in to New York. I said, okay, yeah, right. And he said, we'll bring him to Fordham University for interfaith. I was like, interfaith? I was like, how many times are you going to do that? No offense to interfaith. I said, when's he going to speak? I said, when's he going to speak to the black man? You may as well talk about y'all don't give him to the black. When are you going to speak to the black man? Interfaith, yeah, great. The Pope, all that stuff, great. Yeah, whatever. He should speak to the black man somewhere. So let's go bring him to the armory. So he said, I might just went back to, Savior's Day, Black Family Day. I might just look like, so we'll go to the armory. They wouldn't let us in because it's 9/11, so they didn't want no Muslims in there. So we say, you know what? Why don't we just bring him to the Apollo? So Allah blessed us with someone that had the money, got it connected. So we said, let's go to work. And I tell you, this is just my personal feeling. I've told certain people this, and I say this is true. I was never more alive in those 3 months than I was doing dawah, I'll say that way, than trying to bring the Imam in. I was just elated because I didn't have to work. I could go do talks, do interviews, do speeches. We went to colleges, we went to organizations, we went to masjids, we went to just preaching to the Imam, listening to his tapes, saying what the Imam said about the African Americans, with the Honorable Muhammad connected. I was just so excited, man. Like, yeah. Allah blessed us to really have a platform to have the Imam speak to our people, and and that was the push. Our people, a new Africa, a new mind, a new beginning, I forgot the other one was.
I was going to bring that up. It was during the Juneteenth week in 2003.
Yes.
And the theme was New Africa, a new mind, a new life, a new beginning for Black people in America.
Right, and that was our focus. And the focus was that because that's what the focus was in the nation of Islam. That's what our mother kept in front of us. That's what our father kept in front of us. And I was, again, speak for myself. The reason, because the talk was how we made the transition, how I made the transition. My sister and brother can do that when they get a chance to speak on the show. Again, I made the transition because my history was explained to me. It was explained to me. That's like an African getting to America, growing old enough to say, what happened? What happened to me? How did and somebody says, here's what happened to you. Here's what happened to you. Here's how you were changed. And here's your new role. Until I got that, I was just blowing in the wind. Like I was just, I was there, but I wasn't there. I was satisfied. And I said to myself, whatever Imam Muhammad says about Professor Farad is the facts for me. Whatever he says about the Elijah Muhammad is the facts. Whatever he says about Malcolm are the facts. The autobiography is a good book, but it's not 100% the gospel. I'm letting our brothers and sisters know that too. Everything in that book is not 100%. No, I don't hate Malcolm X. No, I don't hate his family, but 100% of that book is not true. And I'll say this. The same people that said Alex Haley plagiarized Roots, and y'all agreed it, the book, y'all said that wasn't a real story, all of it. Isn't he the author of that book, the autobiography of Malcolm X? And I'm not saying you plagiarized, but I'm saying some of that stuff was stretched, some of the stuff was left out. So that whole book, I don't agree with. No, I don't. I agree with what the Imam said. The best Malcolm was when he was teaching in the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, you can take that for what you want, but that's just my position. I may have lost a whole bunch of friends or acquaintances. Well, that's what it is. That's my leader. That's what he says. My research, I believe, and did my research, and that's what I believe. But that for me, it was to understand what the Nation of Islam was about, what it was for, what the real purpose was. And if we understood what the purpose was, it would be easy to say, well, obviously Imam Muhammad has to be the leader, because he didn't forget what it was started for, and he didn't forget his people. My brother always brings up Imam Muhammad. I forget, it's a point he made at one of his tapes. He said, now I can begin, I forgot what year it was. Now I can begin the second part of my work. And that's, I'm paraphrasing, and that's to address the plight of my people. See? He said the second part of his work is to address us as a people. So those of us that thought Imam Muhammad forgot the African American, forgot the black man, that's just something you're listening to. It's a false narrative. Put that as a false narrative. So for me, it was learning about my reality. And again, along the way, I wasn't in, I didn't do everything right. I did a lot of things that I made a lot of mistakes, hurt people, messed up, didn't know what family was supposed to be, didn't know what marriage was supposed to be. No, I'm not excusing anybody, just talking to myself. And if you want to be cured, I'm talking to my generation of people that I don't see anymore. Maybe you're listening, inshallah, you're listening. Be honest with yourself. What was the Nation of Islam for you? What did your parents really do? Where were they? And where were you? What were you looking for? There was a sister I was explaining to me. She said, we were promised something that we didn't get. That is true. That is true. But if you didn't get it from them, then you were supposed to get it yourself. So we can't use that as an excuse. I can't use that as an excuse. If you know better, then you have to do better. So that whole movement, it was a blessing. I'll never trade it in. I love that experience. It was excellent. And I would like to thank, just like to also thank my sisters, Asajda, for being I call her my big little sister, for having us look at ourselves, I'm talking about as a family and our family, and for our mission to bring us together and not be phony outside, because we were just kind of acting outside too at a point. We were in community helping. We were acting because we weren't really together inside talking and dealing with things. You have to deal with things inside your family too, and be sincere and hear things you don't want to hear. You have to hear things about what happened to you, where were you when this happened? Well, how did you think about Mom? How did you think about our father? And the movement. What do you think about the Imam, the Honorable Muhammad? All that stuff is relevant to you if you came to this movement. You have to ask and talk with yourself. And our sister helped us do that. And our aunt helped us get information about our mother, our soul situation, my mother and father. I thank Aunt Iris. May Allah bless her to be in the high state of paradise. And I like to thank my cousin, Juanita Mahdi from Chicago, originally from Chicago, living what's back to Chicago now, for her giving us information too, to my sister. My sister went digging for information that we had to know about our mother and the history of inside the community. So, I think that helps a lot, because if you don't know the history of the community for real and what you want to accept, it's not going to work for you, so, and accept for what you need it for, and admit to your mistakes, apologize for those of you heard, like the Imam Muhammad told the leaders to apologize to the youth that so far they still haven't done. Don't be carried away by these people that are in the community now trying to become your leader. We only have one leader still, Imam Deen Mohammed, and that's it. If we understand, but I think the being born in the Nation of Islam helped a lot. It helped me love my people. I'll never leave my people. I'll never connect with anybody outside my people. My people are always first. Anything that I do is for my people. This community is my community. I don't have another community outside of it. My mind doesn't go outside to get any information from anyone else, because that's not what my mother did. Again, I have to stress it. If your parents weren't 100% committed, it may have been hard for you to be committed. You could think of yourself, well, I branched out and grew. Okay, well, that's your theory. Then do that. But I don't want to branch out. Outside of this tree. You can branch out, but the tree has to still be here. So you don't branch out and leaving outside of the tree. And don't be ashamed of being a member of the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't know what they're doing in the Mr. Farrakhan. I don't know. I can't speak for them. I don't disrespect them, but I am going to say your experience there is not the experience under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad during that time. It just isn't. Mr. Farrakhan's time is another time, a different situation, circumstance. The world isn't the same. Islam isn't the same. So you're under another kind of reality. How you're looked upon and what's happening. But again, I appreciate all the people that came before me, Captain Shaw and James Shabazz, Son of Thunder, all of them, especially Sister Clara Muhammad for all the work for bringing Honorable Elijah Muhammad into the fold, and Sister Almanza for bringing Clara Muhammad into the fold. We credit Sister Clara Muhammad too, of course, but don't forget about Sister Almanza and her family, the ones that brought her to Professor Farad. Without her, there'd be no her, and without her, there'd be no him. And without the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Sister Clara, there'd be no us, there'd be no Imam Muhammad, there'd be no movement, there'd be no appreciation, and there'd be no influence in America for the religion of Al-Islam. So any other questions, that's...
Well, just before you leave, go ahead, Bilal.
No, I was just like say this conversation is beautiful, and this series is crucial for us to us as millennials or whatever, the younger generation, to actually hear this from our brothers, from our elders, from those who actually lived the experience, those who actually were born into the experience and actually grew up under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under Sister Clara Muhammad, under that first womb, and then transitioned over to Imam Muhammad. And this also brings clarity. I also like to say this also brings clarity to a lot of people's, even within our own community, misconceptions, lies that perhaps was told or perhaps been propagated because of jealousy and envy of certain individuals, or certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this conversation also is a form of therapy. This is what I'm getting at too, on another level, a form of therapy for those who went through those experiences and went through that whole transition, that whole Nation of Islam into the leadership of Imam Muhammad. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of information. And even within an hour or 2 hours, which we're about to approach, even that captures. We're only able to capture, a certain, like a teaser. It's almost like an appetizer. It's almost like we can put this into like a whole series of like movies or like a whole TV show, almost documentary, just with this topic alone. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so layered, it's multi-layered. It's hard for a lot of us, like you said. You had to go back. Your family had to go back and dig up more information. And like come to get some more clarity about certain things. I just think that that's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process for all of us, because especially for those who lived it. Because you may not be clear on certain matters. You may want more clarity. And I just think that this conversation was a great exchange. In terms of people getting that clarity, people getting that space, that need a space to express themselves, and for the audience, for those who are listening. I'm sure they find some benefit. I hope they find some benefit in this conversation, in this exchange. And I hope that, this is also a service not only to ourselves, but it's a service also to those our fellow other Muslims in other communities, and also even non-Muslims who don't know a lot about the Nation of Islam. A lot of them don't know. A lot of them only know Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
Just quiet as kept. A lot of them only know Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
They know about Elijah a little bit, but they don't know much.
Right.
They don't know much. And they, you mentioned Alex Haley, you mentioned his book on all biography of Malcolm X, you mentioned the movie Malcolm X by Spike Lee. They know about those things, but even those books and that movie, like you said, is only a little piece, if that, a microcosm of what was going on. That wasn't the full. Wasn't the full picture.
Right.
For you to get the full picture, and for us to preserve our heritage and our history as a people, you have to consult those who actually lived it.
Yes.
Those who actually were there. That's my belief. Those who actually lived it and those who actually there.
Right. Like you said, they would just real quick. They would know. It's in New York. You couldn't have Malcolm X in the street without Captain Shaw. If you don't know who Captain Shaw is, you weren't there. You don't know about that. There's no movie like that. It's impossible. He was the captain. He was the Elijah Muhammad captain, but that's another story. So those that know, but that's but I'm not discrediting Spike Lee. He did the best.
No, it's not. It's not discrediting him. It's Hollywood. It's part of the machine. So obviously, there's certain things that he could have included, but he won't let you do that. So
yes, sir.
But Deen, you wanted to say something?
Oh no. I got the last question, I guess, in regards to looking forward. What are two things you want to bring forth from that time and include the transition to the present to encourage the next generation in our present community and the future? Because as you all were discussing, there's something I just came across just recently, how there are other communities outside of Muslim African American, like there's the Amish. The Amish, they had their whole struggle with the church and how they can't educate up to the 8th grade. So everybody has their different heritage. Right. And like Bilal was saying, it's important for us to tell our narrative.
Right.
So what are some things or a couple things that we could give to the next generation?
Well, the main thing I would look at is just two things from Quran. Where Allah says, any good that Allah will not discredit, any good that anyone has done, in their history. They have to just be sincere, but Allah's not going to discredit it. So don't think what you did in the Nation of Islam is, it's out the window. No, it was done by sincerity, done to help, then Allah gives you credit. And what helped me to understand how I could progress as a Muslim helping the community is the thing, the verse when Allah says in Quran, work you in your places. Allah says, I'm a worker and you work in your place. Whatever Allah blessed you with as a gift, use that gift to help the community. I'm not an imam. I do Jumas. I do reflections. I'm not, quote unquote, an imam of a community. I know my friend Imam Musa Abdul Ali of Yusuf Shah is laughing right now because I keep telling him that. He's an imam. I call him Yusuf Shah. He's an imam. I'm not. I assist at Harm Center of Islam. I do that because it needs to be done. I get my quote unquote, I know royal robes by Professor Farad, what it really means is when we become Muslim in our God consciousness, that's the royalty. That's what Allah says the best robe to have, the best covering. But also I'm looking at it as my royal robes, and I'm not saying just to segue into it, is the ability that Allah blessed me with. And that is focus on the entertainment. Imam Muhammad said, the best dawah we can do now in America is through the entertainment, entertainment.
Yeah,
culture. Specifically, culture, performing arts. See, we have to make a separate. Culture isn't performing arts. That's part of it. But that reaches the people more than anything.
I agree.
So Allah, it wasn't a coincidence that Allah blessed me and my brothers to be in that vein. The art, so the artistry, the singing, stuff like that. My sisters, they sing. My other sister, older sister, she's an excellent cook. My other brother has a show going on right now until January the 3rd, Khalid. But that's our specialty. We're not trying to be somebody else. If you keep trying to be Imam so-and-so, you're not. I listen to Imam Rashad talk about these books he reads, that books he reads, I read this book. Like, I'm not that big of a reader like that. That's your stick. You like that. I listen to you. And and as an older person, I'm 54 years old. I have no problem listening to people. Y'all are in your 30s. I'm next year, inshallah, I'm gonna get a chance to join Imam Rashad's class. Quranic learning.
Quranic study and leadership.
Just join that class. I have no problem. If you're 20 years old, I don't care. As long as you're with as long as the Imam is your leader, you don't have one over him. I have no problem listening to you. I follow your advice, whatever you want to give me. You know more religion than I do. I have no problem with that. So I have no problem with that. So those that are sort of older, humble yourself, be respectful, you know. And if somebody knows more, is in a better field, better position, just follow it. Yeah, you know, there's no big thing. Like I said, again, I'm stressing it. I came on the show. I said, this is a show. This is a television show. So why would I come with an old shirt on, a pair of pants, and my hat backwards or something? No, I'm dressing up as a suit and a tie, shaving, clean up. So this is a respectable show. I'm sure, because I think this show is going to be, this program is going to be bigger than, you know, than we know. You know, and the reality is things are shifting toward this reality anyway. You know, it's like the same respect you would show the Tonight Show or other kind of show, Rachel Ray, Oprah, all those other things, The View. Show it to our people. Give respect to our people. You know, that's one thing that I want to bring forth from the nation. Respect and dignity. Edify yourself. So the two things I bring from that: understanding a purpose that we want to bring dignity to our people. That's what I want to do. Bring dignity to our people. Keep that and work in your place to do that. You know, I act. I'm a writer, inshallah. I'm willing to be an illustrator. I know my friend Richard Carroll's looking at that. He'll say, you are studying. He's a way better illustrator than that, because he went back to, you know, I kind of lost it, but he's on me, so I'm just trying to stay on it. You know, and again, Allah will bless you with those kinds of people around you that will help you be who you are. Again, like I said, you know, whatever your field is. My younger sister sings. My older sister sings. My Mustafa, they say, you know, but they have their field. My, you know, Cook, my other brother, he's very disciplined. Whatever the traits that you have, Allah has blessed you with, use them to help the community. Don't give up on the community. Don't give up on the community, but work in your place, and you'll see things coming along easier. That's all I have to really say.
Excellent.
I did find bam.
Yes, sir.
That's your brother Khaled there.
Yes. Fire and Soul, 100 Years of Harlem Art Exhibition going on from December 3rd to January 3rd after New Year's, featuring our brother artist Hakim Sabree. So check it out. That's going to be at the Kente Royal Gallery, 2373 Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. And the information, we'll we'll post the flyer on our page too, so you can see it in all its glory. But definitely, this is a prime example of what we're talking about this evening, you know, and supporting our artists, supporting our entrepreneurs, supporting those in our community who are striving to be the workers, you know, good workers. Doing it says we have to be people of faith, but also people of good work and faith, faith and good work. So please, you know, support those who are doing good work, no matter what. Support this platform. You know, but there's a lot of other platforms also that we mentioned, and that some we didn't mention, who are doing a very good work as well. We want to support and spread as much love and respect, as Hakim said, much respect when you come on these platforms, and even giving your dollars, giving your support to support these platforms. There's a few announcements before we let everyone go. This series will continue. We are in conversations with a few other. We'll be bringing on a few other elders or pioneers to talk with us about their experiences. Like Hakim has blessed us and honored starting out this series. We're honored to host this series. I think it's crucial and it's very important. So we're very honored that he brought this idea to us. And we look forward to hearing from the other brothers and sisters as well on this platform and bringing them to you, so you can hear from them as well, because everyone's going to have a unique and a different experience based upon, you know, where they were in their life when they joined the Nation of Islam, and how they transition, and how was it for them, you know, in education and in social. Because Hakim gave us everything. He gave us a little bit of how it was, you know, in education in the Muhammad University of Islam, how when he went to public school, how it was socializing with other people. So you have all of these other elements here that doesn't really get talked about much, and you know, we're trying to capture as much as we can in these conversations, so it gives people a general idea of like, wait, there's more. So you know, there's much more digging that we need to be doing, much more research, and actually consulting some of our pioneers and others, actually give them a listen. And the last thing I did like what was said is, don't give up on the community. I think that's so important, that we do get discouraged as a people We did get discouraged as far as leadership. You know, especially we're not too pleased with your local leadership. You know, you're not pleased with national leadership. You know, maybe we're certainly not pleased. Certainly not pleased with who's in the White House. I mean, you may not ever be pleased with who's in the White House, but you know that still doesn't take away from our civic responsibility that we have. That still doesn't take away from our responsibility that we have to this community of leadership of Imam Deen Mohammed. That no matter who the individuals are, no matter what they try to do, what their attempts are, is very weak in nature and merely just a distraction for us. Those who are workers need to be concentrated on the work, and those who want to collaborate, let us collaborate. Let us come together. Let's see how we can support each other, and let's see how we can build the model community that the Prophet did. Because essentially, when the Imam brought us the concept of Africa, that was Medina. That is Medina, basically.
Right.
You have your masjid, but you have your religious center of learning, but then you have your education, you have your school, you have your businesses, you have your centers of, like Hakim said, your performing arts centers, your theaters, your museums. You have all those pieces. All those pieces are in that picture. And it's not just a picture for us to look at and say, oh, that looks cute, that looks beautiful, but it's something that that we should be implementing, at least striving to implement, and work in our places, like Hakim said, to actually do those things. And don't burn yourself out. We know that we want to see everything happen fast. Time is upon us, but take your time too. It can be burdensome when you take it on. It's not meant to be a burden, but I think a lot of times it is for some people. Like, we feel as our community, even though it's very young in nature, in retrospect to a lot of other communities, it's very young. We feel like we're behind. We're very behind other communities. We're behind other ethnic groups, the Chinese and this group and this group. But take your time, because it took them some time too. They didn't wake up and have have everything either. It was some time that they had to take. It was some community. It was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of planning. And that's what we need to do too with what we have as our leaders. Our leader has left us. Right. And don't forget, that we do have a blueprint. And we have to build on our blueprint to what I say the strategic plan. Right. Most cities and most businesses have strategic plan, and that's what we need to build as a community. Even if it's building just for New York, like, say for instance, do we want to build a strategic plan for New York City? Okay, what's the strategic plan for the Muslims underneath the leadership of Imam Mohammed here in New York City? Right. That's a start. Right. It's a start, and it could be modeled in Philadelphia. It could be modeled in Newark. It could be modeled here. It could be modeled there. It could be modeled across the country.
Right. Sorry to cut you. I just wanted to add this two things. Yeah. Something that, again, Imam Rashad was mentioning. I didn't know about. He mentioned about Fannie Lou Hamer. Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry, Mahalia Jackson. I'm sorry.
Mahalia Jackson. Yeah.
Now here's a performer, Christian performer, who opened up businesses, didn't take any profit, and gave it to people so they could be dignified. So again, it's dignity, dignified. Allah is blessing us. Those that have the ability to do things like that, do those things, but have the focus. You have to have a focus. As I said, we don't pay attention. I don't think, as a community, that Allah is still with us. Yes, in-house, misdirected individuals under the leadership of Imam, dilapidated AMCOP, CPC, other things, and you thought that was it. Not to say CPC can't come back, but do you pay attention to We Buy Black? You don't think that's the reemergence of that?
That is.
Everybody else having their own. We missed the point. And how is he 30? Maybe just turned 30. There's a sign in that, and the brother still moves. He's smiling. He follows the man with no problem. He doesn't waver. That's a beautiful sign for us to look at. Us. I'm talking about my generation, my people, 40s and 50s. To always, wherever I can, support that. And lastly, I want to say, as a person, knowing yourself, and I'm not a motivational speaker. No offense. I tell my friends I'm not into that. But know your situation, what happened to you, however you were birthed, however you came to the community, whatever it was. Know the traits that are hurting you or hurting you that should be helping you, or whatever your condition or situation is. I already know. I have. I think because of the Nation of Islam, we were again was in our head, how we saw ourselves, how I saw myself. Like a Superman. And I realized a lot of stuff that I damaged in my life and relationships and other things is because I still have it. And maybe you have certain things too that you're working on it. Superman complex. And I realized a lot of African Americans, without, I guess, the father figuring out, you have a Superman complex. You want to try to save the world. As Brother Bilal was saying, don't burn yourself out. That was one of the things I was doing as we were bringing him things like that. Too focused on the outside, not inside with our talents, and really dealing with our situation. The Superman complex, they used to call it the Jesus Christ complex. You got to save the whole world. You don't. Work in your place. It's a heavy burden to work down from that complex, because you always see people in need. But balance that reality. Allah says, save yourself. We can't save everybody. So, my brother just put, I didn't know, Mahalia Jackson credited the Nation of Islam. That's what I wanted to put too. Majority of people that were famous, whoever they were from the islands or here, was influenced by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, in some way. Either they joined it, heard it, or being told by it. That's how powerful that movement was. Imagine how powerful this movement is now with the direction and language of Imam Muhammad in its potency, in its concrete direction, and in its balance. You will not find anyone to explain religion better than you as a Muslim than Imam W. Deen Mohammed. So like the Imam said, get to know his mind. But again, know yourself, admit to yourself what your talents are, what your struggle is, what your complex is. Whoever you get in connection with, relation, whatever it is, know yourself first. Don't give up on yourself either. And like Imam always said, don't give up on the youth. And youth don't give up on those adults that you see as sincere. And when you see youth working, move out of the way. Move out of the way. And if those that didn't do it in 2000 when the Imam told you to do it, talking to leadership that's still around, all you got to do is that. He just said, apologize to the young people. Just apologize. You don't have to go into a long story. Just apologize, because you know what you did. Once they see a sincere apology, you get all the help you need. Allah will help you. Work in your place. Work on yourself. Be sincere. And don't break the family ties. Our mother told us, she said, all I want you to do is take care of each other. She made a covenant with Allah for us to do that. She made a covenant with Allah to join the Nation of Islam and continue it. Our mother signed us up for a covenant, a forever covenant, and we got to fulfill it. I can't leave. I can't leave the covenant. I'll get cursed. Alhamdulillah, I will be cursed if I leave this community and the mission of Imam Muhammad. No, I'm talking for my family. We leave it cursed, and that is a beautiful thing to know. You'll understand that. Some of y'all will understand it when you start looking into it. You leave this mission, the promised land, you'll be cursed. Stay with it, you'll be blessed. It's not spooky, it's sincerity.
Right on. So that's a great way to end the show. I call him. He said the pioneer and the elders. We can actually classify him as one of the inheritors. So we're going to classify those who come on this series as the inheritors, the birth in a nation, growing into a community. If anyone, again, who's listening now or will listen in the future, if you're interested as well in coming on and share your story, please email us at newfreedomx, put your X's up, xchangeshow@gmail.com. That's newfreedomxchangeshow@gmail.com. We do have a couple more announcements. I think Bilal put some already in the
I just want to remind people
we also have
mention We Buy Black. Go check them out. WeBuyBlack.com. Our brother Sharif Abdul Malik is working tirelessly with him and his team. We are actually working with him as well on some other projects as well. So there is True Detergent. Make sure you get that. Have that in your house with your family. That is the bag, the gift bag that has all the products that are coming from the African American community / African American Muslim community. Toothbrushes. There's the light bulbs, the detergent. There is the shampoo and the conditioner now that they added. The mouthwash is in there, and quite a few other items. So check it out. Also, we have the New Freedom Pie kit for New Freedom Pie. The kits are $15. There they are. That's it. You get the mix on the right-hand side, and then you get the graham cracker crust on the left. And that's how it should look when it comes out the oven. Okay, nice and brown. Now, we also have sea moss as well. The organic sea moss. We just got our. Can you show them the? Do we have the newer pictures in there? No.
I didn't.
Oh, we didn't add new pictures. But anyway, that's the picture of it as it was.
This is coming from the harvest right here.
Yeah, this is the harvest. This is from Zanzibar in Tanzania. We have a good brother that's out there right now from our community who's in Tanzania right now and is helping us to get some of these products here and imported to the States. We just had quite a few successful orders from friends and families, members of this community as well, who have supported us. So we still have more from our first order left. You can still jump in and enjoy some of those good prices that you're not gonna get nowhere else. I'm just gonna say that, because on the market right now, everything's super what do you call it? What's the word? Inflated. Inflated. Yeah. It's inflated.
And plus, it's a double head, as Imam Hakim, brother Hakim, aka the heritage. He mentioned you got to have a purpose in mind too, right? So it's also connecting us paying the farmers in Africa as well as developing jobs and industry here in America.
We, like I said, we're working on that with Sharif as well. So we're working on some things, and we're going to be unveiling some of those business opportunities as we close out this month and going into January of 2021, inshallah, God willing. Two more. We have this is Marsha Muhammad Newark. This is the Grab and Go fundraising breakfast at the Eid Committee, the United Eid Committee out in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, is putting on. This is the Grab and Go. This is not something you can dine in. It used to be something to dine in, but due to COVID, you can only grab and you can go. Face mask, please wear. Please social distance. Sunday, that's coming up on December 27th, from 8 to 10 a.m. Tickets are $10. If you want tickets, we'll post the flyer to our page. Our sister Marsha is a person you can get tickets from as well. This is Marsha's daughter. Lux and Lavish pop-up shop is this weekend.
Tomorrow, come on out.
It's tomorrow in Newark, right? Jersey City, December from 3 to 7, 758 Ocean Avenue. If that's Ocean Avenue.
Yep, Jersey City.
Yes, okay. Ocean Avenue, Jersey City. She sells some nice jewelry, and it's custom made too. So I wish we had a picture. We don't have a picture of that, but we'll share that to the page as well. And lastly, two more announcements. Definitely check out our Patreon. We do ask for your support to keep growing this platform. We have a lot of plans. We want to end the year big, and we want to begin the quote unquote the Gregorian New Year. Obviously, the Muslims' New Year has passed, which was Muharram, that has passed. So our New Year has begun according to our lunar calendar. But anyway, we want to end the year good with a bang, and we want to begin the year with a bang. We have a lot of cool things coming down the pipe, and we want you all to be part of it. And we cannot do it without your monetary support as well. So please, we ask for you to come in to one of those levels on the Patreon, patreon.com/NFX Daily. There's 3 levels that come with perks or things that you'll get access to upon your monthly donation. We're looking for monthly subscribers, basically. And lastly, the Bilalian Trust. So this is a digital campaign to digitize a lot of our cultural heritage, as Hakim brought it to us orally tonight. We also have a lot of artifacts that's Muhammad Speaks newspapers, the American Muslim obviously the Mohammed Speaks has been going through its transition before it became the Muslim Journal. It went through a series of transitions, just like the community. As the community transitioned, so did the paper in name and in content also transitioned to finally where it became the Muslim Journal. So we have a lot of the old archives that we have of those, and also other publications and pictures, some like this one here, but other pictures that a lot of people haven't seen. People have seen that picture of Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Dr. King, but there's plenty more that a lot of people have not seen that we have with some pioneers who have given us their collection, personally given us their collection, and say, can you digitize this? And can we open up a virtual museum, which is coming actually this month? We have 2 digital community centers, excuse me, one in Central PA and one in the city of Philadelphia that we're developing. If you could show pictures of that before we leave, bring up some pictures of the digital center where it looks inside. There's a lot of blank wall space. So the brother who we're working with wants us to curate. He's going to help us curate with his artifacts the virtual museum, and we're going to give a virtual tour of that museum at online for people to see. Yeah, this is us. This is the youth. This is the youth. This is the generation now. This is what we call generation now at work, to clean up the community center and get it ready for soon. We just got we're waiting for our occupancy, the certificate of occupancy to be to open up to the general public. Once we get that, then we'll be off to the races for more things. But it's a nice space, and it's something that we want to develop across the country to teach students and adults about what we're doing here, podcasting skills, entrepreneurship skills. That's why we're working with By Black to develop that portion. And also just family building, which is crucial, which is Hakim brought that up as well. Family building, and et cetera, et cetera. So support the Bilal Trust. We actually just, we have a publication that once you donate, you'll be able to receive on the CRADE movement, which is the coalition to remove all racial images of the divine, which was started by our late teacher, mentor, educator, Imam Deen Mohammed in the 80s. Was one of these movements that were domestic, national across the country, and has been recognized, by the way, by some Afro-American psychologists who have recognized that piece of work as being vital. We have that information too. It's documented that they recognize that effort as well. So we have a lot of history, and again, tonight was just the beginning of the series, and we hope to see you all again soon, inshallah. And if you haven't liked the page, like New Freedom Exchange on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
All right, that's all we have. Until next time, thank you all for hanging out with us. Peace.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
In the history of America, few men have had a greater impact on the religious landscape than Imam W. Deen Mohammed. For nearly 35 years, he was the religious leader for millions of Muslims in America. Through his keen and unique insight, he helped to guide hundreds of thousands of Americans to the religion of Al-Islam. Under the leadership of Imam Mohammed, American Muslims established mosques, schools, and communities in every major city in America,
creating a respect and acceptance for Islam in the United States never before known. Join Muslim News Magazine as we take an exclusive look at the life and legacy of one of the world's greatest religious leaders, Imam W. Deen Mohammed.
They ask me about religion, why? They ask me about my race and my tribe. They ask about my complexion, why? When they ask me, this is what I say. My grandfather was a Muslim, and my daddy was a Rasta. They were searching for the truth, and the Quran they gave the answer. They put their hands up to the sky, and they ask the Lord why. We not gonna worship the creation, we only pray to the Creator. Guidance is a gift that the Lord shall give to any man or woman, whether small or big. God said you must reflect, you have to use your mind. So now you know the reason why. My grandfather was a Muslim, and my daddy was a Rasta. They were searching for the truth, in the Quran they found the answer. They put their hands up to the sky, and they asked the Lord why. We not gonna worship the creation, we only pray to the Creator. The messenger of God, the best of creation. Peace and blessings be upon him and his one nation. He came to teach the world, came to free our souls, and the charity comes from a smile. So when you see me on the road, give me a smile. I say salam alaikum to my brothers, why? Cause it's peace for you, and it's peace for me. Peace from my granddaddy. My grandfather was a Muslim, and my daddy was a Rasta. They were searching for the truth, in the Quran they found the answer. They put their hands up to the sky, and they asked the Lord why. We not gonna worship the creation, we only pray to the Creator. My grandfather was a Muslim, and my daddy was a Rasta. They were searching for the truth, in the Quran they found the answer. They found what they were looking for. They put their hands up in the sky, and they asked the Lord why. We not gonna worship the creation, we only pray to the Creator. Grandfather was a Muslim, and my daddy was a Rasta. They were searching for the truth, and the Quran they gave the answer. They put their hands up